It's as simple as that.
All right, so a short pass play there, and the clock is running. By the way, the Dolphins have no timeouts left. So the clock, why did the clock stop?
I know the Patriots did not just take a timeout.
Somebody took a timeout.
Or did the Dolphins burn their last one? They didn't have any.
Oh, they must have.
I was about to say it had to be them burning their last one because I cannot imagine the Patriots burning a timeout to stop the clock with the lead. Mike Vrabel, no wonder you got fired.
I still cannot believe that timeout by Notre Dame.
Man.
What was that? They had stopped A&M 3 straight plays, and then they called a timeout to give A&M, a little extra time to figure out what they're going to do on fourth down, and they lose the game?
We watch so many teams on the pro and college level screw up down the stretch, but we watched Georgia Tech in the fireman drill yesterday. Yeah. I mean, pull that thing off.
55-yard field goal.
Took their time.
Yep.
Did not rush. The holder made sure everyone was set. He looked back at the kicker. Kicker gave him a head nod. He flicked his fingers to snap the ball, and then the kicker makes the perfect extra field goal, longest in his career.
All right, here we go. First and goal for the Bengals right now, the Jacksonville 1-yard line, trailing 27-24. The Cowboys second and goal at the Giants 6-yard line, trailing the Giants 30-27.
Touchdown, Dallas.
And Dallas has gotten into the end zone. George Pickens into the end zone.
50 seconds to go here.
All right, so the Giants will have time, but pending the extra point, they could need a touchdown here. But a short pass play to George Pickens right there.
The clock has hit 0, and overtime is here.
The 49ers win it!
Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett are here for instant reaction.
Stop it. Come on.
We'll take you into the locker room and hear from the players and Kyle Shanahan.
I thought Brock did a good job. He has a chance to win.
And, of course, we want to hear from you, the faithful. Overtime starts now.
Wow. Niners in victory formation in the Superdome in New Orleans. The final seconds ticking off the clock as we speak. The final score will be 49ers 26, Saints 21. The Niners in New Orleans without Brock Purdy, without George Kittle. They get a win, and they're now 2-0. Welcome into overtime here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Grandy, Sterling Bennett with you. Sterling, hell of a win. Niners 2-0. How you feeling?
Back-to-back weeks down to the wire. We don't blink. Robert Saleh saving the day. Niners are 2-0. Essentially back-to-back strip sack fumble victories for the San Francisco 49ers. It was getting a little shaky at the end.
It was.
Wish you had the extra point. Wish you could have got a field goal the last two drives. But this team knows how to close games. And look, we knew the Saints weren't the best team, but we also knew they were going to give you a fight. They fought till the end against the Cardinals last week.
Yep.
They fought you till the end this Sunday, on a victory Sunday now for the San Francisco 49ers. But again, get wins any means necessary. The Seahawks won today. San Francisco stays ahead and is now undefeated, Mark. 2-0 with the backup quarterback and a third-string tight end and no starting left guard and no Kyle Juszczyk. This team somehow survives 2 straight weeks.
Yeah, honestly, Sterling, and we want to take your calls all afternoon long here on Overtime, 888-957-9570. The game is officially final. The Niners kneel down a couple of times, and they win in New Orleans 26-21. As Sterling just mentioned, they're undefeated at 2-0. I was a little, frankly, confused at the talk all week long. Once we found out that it was unlikely Brock was going to play, we knew pretty early that Kittle was out, and now he's on IR, going to miss at least 3 more games. I was a little confused the way a lot of Niner fans were feeling about this game. It felt like most Niner fans out there, and Sterling, you can let me know how you felt like this game should be no big deal without Brock, without George Kittle. We did not yet know about Juwan Jennings and Trent Williams. Both were questionable. Both played in this game, and Juwan was very good in this game. Trent had a better game than he did in week 1 as well. And I know a lot of this comes maybe not necessarily in the belief that Mac is comparable to Brock or, yada, yada, yada. It just, most people felt the Saints are terrible. Niners, without their quarterback and without their all-pro tight end, should still be able to win. And I know where those people are coming from. That's not where my mind was, Sterling. This was going to be a fight And I'm honestly surprised the Niners were able to put up as many points as they did. I thought Spencer Rattler looked like a pretty damn good quarterback on the other side for the Saints. I mean, this was a hard-fought win, and maybe I wasn't expecting it to be 26-21, maybe more like 17-14, but I felt like this was going to be a really, really hard-fought game, so I'm not surprised it came down to the very end, given the Niners' injuries.
Not surprised at all. That said, I thought Niner fans had every right to walk into this game confident. The Saints have many holes, rebuilding team, new regime out there in New Orleans, and yes, they thought they're gritty. That team last year also had some of that grit to them.
Yeah.
Now they have a more complete coaching staff at the helm. That said, though, Mac Jones, can we talk about Mac Jones?
Let's do it.
We got McCorkle today, brother. I mean, that was awesome. Mac Jones, I get it. There was some late drives that you could have wished you had back and some throws you missed or some incompletions you wish were catches. But Mac Jones, 3 touchdowns in New Orleans, no matter how bad that team is. Going to New Orleans, starting 2-0 on the road in any season is tough. You just don't do it most years. And Mac Jones, backup quarterback, how is he going to look? Was he going to look like failed first-round pick Mac Jones or look like real 15th overall pick Mac Jones?
Yep.
Today, he looked like 15th overall pick Mac Jones. Saints defense, are they great? Are they good? Not really, but again, they're gritty, and they will take games if you allow them to. And San Francisco, thankfully, outside of one boneheaded fumble, did not give this game away. Only 1 turnover today. Played a clean game. San Francisco's defense did the same thing with multiple big plays. But look, anytime you win on the road 2 weeks in a row, that is a big plus for this team. Now they get to come back home against the Cardinals, sleep in their own bed, and host another NFC West game. A Niner fan should be hyped and probably have a little bit more confidence in Mac Jones walking into week 3.
Yeah, no, I mean, Mac Jones was better than I think most of us could possibly have hoped for. 26 for 39, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. A lot of really nice throws on big downs, on third down, some conversions. He found Jawan Jennings often. Ricky Pearsall had 4 catches. McCaffrey was his escape valve, as he tends to be for whichever quarterback is playing with him. McCaffrey caught a touchdown pass, his first touchdown of the season. Mac Jones was awesome in this game. I think you see some of the limitations of the offense with Mac because he's clearly not as mobile as Brock, and he was forced to kind of take a couple of sacks, and one of them was resulted in a fumble because he can't quite extend plays, and there were a couple of moments. That strip sack was one of them, Sterling, where you just were begging him to get rid of the ball. You're holding on to it just a second too long, but as a backup quarterback, I'll put it this way, Sterling. I don't think there's any other backup quarterback in the league who you could come in and expect to be better than what Mac Jones was today. He's clearly one of the best backups in the NFL, which is why the Niners went out and signed him.
Well, it's the reason why you can go back to the rumor mill as to who Kyle wanted back in 2021, and that's a long time ago now, and we've moved on from that, but there's a reason why. It's the mental game. He knows the offense. He can operate the offense, do what Kyle needs him to do. And today, you can say this felt very Jimmy Garoppolo-esque with maybe some more precision. I think Mac Jones, although there was a reversion back to a former iteration of the offense, it was good enough to win. And Mac Jones was precise, on time, found guys wide open. Jawan Jennings, 42-yard touchdown reception, the longest of his entire career with a bum ankle and a bum shoulder. I mean, it took everything this team had to win today. And kind of like last week, too, if this was last year, they don't win this game.
Oh, absolutely.
And to go on the road and win this game, it's so big for them. And for Mac Jones, who you don't really know what that career path will look like for him. Is he going to come in and be a dud and be terrible and have San Francisco saying, what a terrible decision we made? And you sit back and say, wow, we really miss Brock Purdy. And don't get me wrong, we really miss Brock Purdy. The mobility he has, the playmaking he has, but against a Saints team that is probably one of the worst in football this year, Mac was phenomenal. Really great, and I think hopefully has changed some people's minds as to how good the team can be. Can you stay afloat? This team showed today they can stay afloat without their stars, which is a great place to be. Where last year, this team, you lose one guy, season's over, wrap it up, buddy. Now it's like, okay, we got got something here with the backups, which preserve yourself and get your guys healthy and go on a run at some point. But great win today. Great team win today, back-to-back weeks.
Absolutely. I think team is the right way to describe this. An 888-957-9570. The Niners win in New Orleans 26-21. They're now 2-0 on the season. A couple of road wins, one in the division, and then one without your starting quarterback and your star tight end. Hell of a way to begin the season for the Niners. Does not matter if you win by 1, if you win by 20. All that matters is get the win, and the Niners have done that. But the emphasis on the team. We talked about Mac Jones. You mentioned Jawan Jennings. Christian McCaffrey, of course, Ricky Pearsall, Kendrick Bourne. The new Niner had 3 big catches in this game. Brian Robinson.
Didn't know the offense very well, but he came through.
he might have been the reason for a delay a game penalty in the second half because he was confused if he should move in motion right now or later and whatever, but a couple of big catches for him. Jake Tonjes had 4 more catches. He had no career catches entering this season. Had 3 in week 1 on the final drive, including the game-winning touchdown. Had 4 more today. Luke Farrell caught his first career touchdown, and that's just on offense, Sterling. How about on defense? Fred Warner with the peanut punch on one of the craziest catches I've ever seen from Alvin Kamara, giving the Niners the ball back. That resulted in the touchdown that made it a 2-score game early in the fourth quarter. And then, late in the game defensively, essentially each of the Saints' last 2 drives, sacks to close the door on drives. On 3rd and 6 on the Saints' second to last drive, it was a Nick Bosa sack, but it was also Mykel Williams with a bull rush from up the middle. He was the right defensive tackle alongside Nick Bosa. He that pressure with the bull rush forced Rattler to step up right into Bosa for an easy sack, and then the strip sack to end the game on the final offensive play of the game from the Saints. Bryce Huff, strip sack, ball game. You had big moments from like 7, 8, 9, 10 different guys in this game, Sterling. And interesting that it played out that way because the 49ers, you generally feel like, are kind of a top-heavy team. You've got these superstars in a number of key positions, but they lack depth. And maybe the back end of their starting lineup isn't quite as good around the rest of the NFL. But, man, you got a lot of contributions from some of the others in this game today.
How about Mykel Williams? Mykel Williams
He was great today.
Week wasn't much of a pass rush specialist, wasn't getting home much, more of a run defender. This week, though, great in run defense.
He was amazing.
Running down. Like the play on before Fred Warner's amazing 3rd and 2 PBU to ice this game or put it to 4th down that forced a sack for Bryce Huff. He chased down Alvin Kamara when Lenore and Winters missed to force that 3rd and 2. The mode on him to not waste plays, to run down guys that are 5 yards ahead of him to save games, if you will, to force the pocket up to feed Rattler right into Bosa's teeth. Like Mykel, for not playing the entire preseason, has made an impact. I'm sure you saw the stat after week 1. Double team nearly 95% of the snaps against Seattle. Came in against the Saints and said, you know what? Enough with that crap. We're getting home in week 2 and making some plays. What a big, big game for this team's first-round draft pick this past year's draft. Excellent day from him. I thought the run defense wasn't perfect. It was much worse, but you're playing Alvin Kamara, one of the best in football, and they held up well. Only allowed 21 points, and even then, like I really think San Francisco's defense continues to be the strongest point. The offense scored 26 points. That's great, awesome, perfect, whatever, but this defense is so clutch. Bend, don't break. Even the last drive in which the Saints scored their last touchdown. 2 third downs, one of the penalties was kind of a ticky-tack, really kind of call.
Upton Stout,
So, again, Saleh, thank you for coming back, brother. We need you big time. Thank you so much. You're saving us out here in San Francisco.
Yeah, that drive you're talking about, it was the Devon Vele touchdown drive that made it 26-21 Niners with a little more than 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. That drive began, by the way, relatively early on with a Mykel Williams tackle for loss of Alvin Kamara. Got the Saints behind the sticks. Eventually they faced a 3rd and 12. And Rattler took a deep shot over the middle to Olave. Stout broke it up, and it looked to me like pretty clean, but called for illegal contact, automatic first down. You're right. I didn't really think it was much of a penalty, but it was called a penalty. Then later on in that drive, there was a 3rd and 5 from right around midfield. Yetur Gross-Matos, good to see him back and performing well. Got great pressure forced a wild incompletion, but there was defensive holding there. That time it was on Marquis Siegel, another rookie. Stout and Siegel, both rookies, both getting regular snaps. Stout as the nickel corner and Siegel as one of the other safeties alongside Pinnock. That's also an automatic first down, and then ultimately it leads to the touchdown. There were 2 third and 5 and 3rd and 12 conversions on that drive converted by penalty. That's going to happen with your youngsters in the secondary, Sterling. You're right about the Stout one. I didn't think it was much of a penalty. The Niners are going to have to get off the field on third downs more often against the better teams, but you're right. Just good to see them in a spot on 3rd and 12. That's a really tough ask for a Saints offense that is very limited themselves. And on that Stout one, that felt pretty clean to me. That probably should have got them off the field. We can talk about the ticky-tack nature of it, but I'm ultimately going to applaud Upton Stout for that specific rep there. It looked to me like he did a pretty good job.
Physical coverage. That's exactly what you want from young defensive backs. Sometimes it's penalties. Sometimes you get burned, and they almost got burned today. But I am so impressed by how quickly this unit has turned around defensively. Obviously, you had a bunch of guys that were cut in the offseason, some guys that were released, which you can complain about and say, why'd you cut that guy? Why'd you cut this guy? But overall, the way Fred Warner plays, D. Winters, another phenomenal game in space, chasing down ball carriers, just so great. The way he covered the field, one sideline to the other, to chase down Kamara and Olave to stop pivotal third down plays, second down plays to force 3rd and longs. D. Winters right now is playing like a superstar. You may miss Dre Greenlaw. I tell you what, San Francisco right now is like, oh, thank God we let D. Winters play and cut or let Dre Greenlaw leave in the offseason. D. Winters has been phenomenal for this defense, and how good the secondary's played. Again, you got burnt a few times, but really, the way they have gone from a team that you were scared of them giving up 24 points a game, 30 points a game last year, to now sitting back like, they can hold the team to 13, to 10, and today wasn't that, but overall, the collective of that defense to fight continually, where the offense stalls late in games, and Shanahan now saying, I have the confidence to trust my defense to take a shot on 3rd and 6 to win a football game. It didn't work out, but guess what? Good old Bobby Saleh out there saying, hey, don't worry, Kyle, I got you.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. If you would have told me, Sterling, the Niners would have scored 26 points, the Saints would have scored 21, I would have said, wow, the offense won them this football game. And the offense was not bad by any stretch. Again, Mac Jones, 26 for 39, 279, and 3 touchdowns. But it was the defense, and I think specifically with what they did in the biggest moments. And I think the defense won them this football game. And we don't have to have a running tally throughout the season of, was it more the offense or more the defense? This is a team, and they're working together. And you are going up against a quarterback in Spencer Rattler who has not won a game in his NFL career, and I believe is now made 8 starts. So, we're not talking about just 1 or 2 starts. He's now 0-8 in his NFL career. I don't have exactly all 8 of his starts top of mind. I would imagine this is one of the closer games that he's ever been in. So them scoring 21 points, honestly, kind of impressive for New Orleans. But the way that this game went down, Sterling, I'm giving the kudos to the defense for stepping up in those big moments. To see Bryce Huff, which was an under-the-radar offseason acquisition, a trade with the hated Eagles, come in and make the game-ending play on a strip sack of Spencer Rattler. To see Nick Bosa after, he's kind of been a popular target for Niner fans the last couple of years as a reason why the defense hasn't been quite as good, because he's not getting the sack numbers that he did when he was, winning Defensive Player of the Year. To see him step up in a big moment, and to see the rookie Micah Williams, who we already mentioned, consistently in the backfield. I'm giving the kudos, and I'm tipping my cap to the defense and Robert Saleh, as you said, because the way in which they came through in the big moments is top of mind for me as we try to react to what this crazy win was, Sterling.
When you need your defense to look at the offense and say, hey, backup quarterback, 3rd-string tight end, how can we pick up the pieces? Yeah. How can we pick up maybe some more slack to help us win games like this? And you knew walking in week 2, you don't have your guys you want. You don't have half your offensive stars to help you win football games. But while the offense prevailed and they scored, plenty of touchdowns that gave you enough to win this game, the defense continues to pick up that slack and say, hey, we don't need you to carry us anymore. We all thought walking to the year, Brock Purdy, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, if they're all healthy, Pearsall, they have to carry that young defense. That is no longer how I feel. And I get it. It's the Seahawks and the Saints, not the biggest offensive test for them, but I no longer feel that when that defense is on the football field, like, oh, I'm worried. I'm like, no, they got this. They're going to handle business. They're going to win this game for us, whether it's a takeaway or a third and out they're going to force. Like, this defense gives me the utmost confidence after just 2 weeks that they can beat almost any offense in football. And again, look, it's not two great tests, but the way they played has instilled so much belief in me, and I hope the rest of the fan base, that they can do something. I don't know how far they go, but they will keep them in games no matter how long or who they play each and every Sunday.
Yeah, and like the opponent last week, the Seahawks' first start for Sam Darnold as a member of the Seahawks went into Pittsburgh today and put up 31 points. Now, 7 of those came on a crazy special teams play because rookie running back Caleb Johnson did not know the new kickoff rule and just let a ball bounce in the field of play and then roll into the end zone. He thought his job was done. It's not done. It was recovered by the Seahawks for a touchdown. Big reason why the Steelers lost that game. But still, I mean, they did not have a ton of trouble moving the ball in that game for the Seahawks. Let's see. Jackson Smith and Jigba had 103 receiving yards. Cooper Kupp was at 90. Kenneth Walker averaged 8 yards per carry versus the Steelers. Sheesh. He was doing nothing versus the Niners last week. And I get it about today. This is a Saints offense that is very challenged. They have some quality pieces. Kamara is one of the more intriguing dual-threat running backs still in the league. He's in a similar vein to McCaffrey. Olave hasn't had a ton of sustained success, but when healthy, he's still a really good receiver. Juwan Johnson is an above-average pass-catching tight end, although he did have a couple of really bad drops today. Olave also had one in the end zone on their very first drive. The Niners caught some breaks. There also was a missed field goal by the Saints. Large point, though. This is not a high-powered Saints offense, but still, I think your point is a good one, Sterling. The way that this defense has played through 2 weeks, for me, it kind of changes the calculus. The calculus no longer becomes, all right, in order for the Niners to win, say, 10 or 11 games, Brock has to throw for 250 a game and 2 or 3 touchdowns and at the most 1 turnover, but they're going to have to keep it really, really clean in the turnover department. For me now, not that you're ever going to root for Brock to turn the ball over or want him to only throw for 190 yards instead of 250 and only 1 touchdown instead of 2 or 3, but there is a lot more room for error than I previously thought because of what we've seen from the defense for the first 2 weeks. Suddenly now you feel comfortable that you can win a football game if you need to, 21-18 if it comes down to that. And I didn't really know if that was possible, at least this early in the season coming into the year.
Yeah, and to your point, really, I don't know if it changes whether you think the record prediction's better or worse than it should have been coming into the year, but, the schedule ahead, you may not have Brock Purdy for the next 2, 3, 1 game. We don't know how long he'll be out. We hope it's 1 game. We hope it's no games, really. But if you don't have Brock against the Cardinals and against the Jaguars and against the Rams, while all those games at some point can be winnable for you, you feel much more confident walking into a Week 5 against the Rams, who are a darn good football team that are probably right now the favorite to win the division. You feel a little bit more confident in this team simply based on the defensive production we've seen so far. They're young, they're explosive, they'll make mistakes, but they somehow find a way to make up for their own mistakes and the offense's mistakes too. When the offense stalls in the red zone or stalls their drives, they pick them up. I thought Fred Warner's fumble the forced fumble was huge.
Yeah, it was.
D. Winters gets penalized, moves the Saints immediately into San Francisco territory, and you're like, oh, here we go. Here's the boneheaded play. It's going to cost them the game. We're going to cost them a touchdown, and we're going to be down sitting like, Mac Jones, save us. And Warner, as he always does, all-pro Fred, the best linebacker in football, bar none. Don't give me any of that Roquan Smith crap. It's Fred Warner. He is the best linebacker there is, and there has been for about almost a decade now in football. He's phenomenal. The way he ripped that ball, to have the instincts to rip that ball out of Alvin Kamara's hands as he's like juggling it behind his head.
Did you think
trying
it was
to do
a
a David Tyree helmet catch?
Did you think it was a catch, first of all? Because I'm not so sure I ever felt like he had complete control of that.
I think the broadcast said he had 4 tiny little cha-cha steps on his helmet. And they said, you have control. And I was like, hey, I'll take it. Whatever it takes.
I'm not angry. I just thought it was going to be called an incomplete pass. But it worked out, and that was when the Niners turned that into the touchdown, the Jawan Jennings touchdown.
And it's plays like that right there that kind of signifies that put on display why having a player like Fred matters, why they paid him so much money in the offseason. Think about it. The 3 guys they paid this offseason, 2 of them aren't playing. And the one guy that is maybe had one of the biggest plays of the game. That's what he's paid to do. It's what he always does. That's why he's there. D. Winters and Fred Warner may be right now, and Fred will already carry the load, but maybe the best linebacking core in football. That's how great they have played the last 2 weeks. Covering one sideline to the other, getting turnovers, chasing down ball carriers. They have been a total defensive wizardry. The tandem is off the charts. They are phenomenal. We all worried about Devondre Campbell and not having speed on the defense and all this stuff. They have it again. They have guys that can cover in space, chase down ball carriers, and make plays. And Fred today had the biggest one for this defense.
He absolutely did. And D. Winters through 2 weeks, I mean, you can be nothing but pleased by what he's done. He did have the one unnecessary roughness penalty for kind of throwing Rattler out of bounds a little late.
Don't do that.
I think we talked about this last week. He does have the Dre Greenlaw in him where that's going to happen every once in a while just because he plays so dang hard in the first place, and that's going to happen every once in a while. That's the only negative I noticed from him on the initial watch of the game, Sterling. We'll go back and watch it again and try to find more. But beyond that negative play, I mean, he had a great tackle of Chris Olave on the 3rd down. Olave caught it in space, slipped, got back up, and D. Winters absolutely with a sure-handed tackle. He had a huge hit on a Kendre Miller short completion to force a punt. And he's just flying all over the place. He's from sideline to sideline. There's no play that he does not feel like he doesn't have the speed to get in on. I thought he was awesome in this game once again. And when we talk about reasons why maybe the calculus has changed a little bit for the 49ers in terms of what this defense is, for me, D. Winters is top of the list because the way that we always talked about him this offseason, or at least the way that I heard a lot of us talk about D. Winters this offseason, it was, well, we hope that he can just be a fraction of what Dre Greenlaw was. We hope that he could be better than Devondre Campbell was next to Fred Warner last year.
Wouldn't be too hard.
Wouldn't be too hard, but we didn't really know.
Don't quit on the team. You'll be instantly better.
Not as a person, but as a player, you know? And we hoped that was going to be something that could happen. But we didn't really know it. So the way that we talked about the linebacking core and D. Winters in specific was, you know, we hope, and if this happens, if he takes a major step forward, and if he looks similar to Dre Greenlaw, then this defense can take a jump. But those were all big ifs. We did not yet know. But now, not that we know that he's suddenly an all-pro level linebacker, but we know that he's above average, and we know that he can hold his own opposite Fred Warner in that linebacking duo. So that's a big reason. D. Winters is a big reason why I feel so much more confidence about this Niners defense than I thought I would this early in the year.
Well, in this game specifically, Spencer Rattler in week 1 against the Cardinals was most successful when he was blitzed and throwing the football over the middle of the field.
Yep.
That's why you love to have guys like D. Winters, like Fred Warner, where you have the NFL adopting more the Shanahan offensive style. Everything's towards the middle. The boundaries really aren't toyed with much for offenses. You have 2 guys, mainly one in Fred, but another guy coming up along the side of him that hopefully can maintain the level of play he's having, that can erase the middle of the football field.
Yep.
That's how you win games nowadays. That's how you can stop opposing passing offenses. And we've already seen. I know today wasn't as successful for the run defense, but And there were certainly times where the Saints were having success on the ground in the red zone, and you're like, okay, like, someone hit somebody. Someone get a stop. But I thought the last 2 weeks, too, where this team's run defense was so bad last year, the way they've been able to plug and play guys, improve the run defense, and almost control games that way to force the Saints into 3rd and longs. The Saints had so many 3rd and longs in this game, and you give a quarterback that has never won in his entire NFL career a 3rd and 8, a 3rd and 6, a 3rd and 7, a 3rd and 12, although sometimes they will get the completion and keep the drive going, it makes games insurmountable. And there was a point in time in this game where this game, in the fourth quarter, late, didn't feel insurmountable for the Saints, but what happens? You get a sack, you get a big PBU, and you continue to push the Saints back and win games like this. They can close games finally. They couldn't close last year. They have closers now, thankfully.
I mean, you said it off the very, very top. They lose this game last year. Absolutely. Like they make all the big plays that they made, the positive big plays they made were negative big plays last year. The penalties on Upton Stout and Marquise Siegel lead to touchdowns, and that did happen today.
Backbreakers.
But they follow that up with, instead of a strip sack, they commit a roughing the passer penalty on a 3rd and long. It turns into an automatic first down. And then it's just death by 1,000 paper cuts. And that's what it was last year. And through 2 games, you haven't played a great team yet. You've played, I think, a pretty good team in the Seahawks and a bad team in the Saints, but you found ways to close the door in both of those games, and that's really, really, really meaningful. We mentioned this guy's name as I go back to the offensive side for just a sec, Sterling. I mean, Juwan Jennings, questionable coming into this game with that shoulder injury that we thought was somewhat serious based on the fact that Kyle Shanahan
lift his arm up.
And Kyle Shanahan was talking about a free agent wide receiver in the post-game press conference week 1.
Yeah.
We thought that was a sign maybe that Juwan Jennings' injury was serious. Then they go out and sign Kendrick Bourne, the guy that he was talking about, and yet Juwan still plays, and he leads the team not in catches with 5. McCaffrey had 6, but in yards with 89, including a 42-yard touchdown, was targeted 10 times, almost had a crazy acrobatic catch in the fourth quarter on 3rd down that would have sealed this game. Bryce Huff later sealed it with that strip sack. I thought Juwan Jennings and he limped off the field at one point in this game too. What he did to stay in this game and to kind of will the Niners to victory with that 42-yard touchdown catch. I mean, we knew this about Juwan. The dude's a warrior. He's a battler. And even though it was not Brock Purdy, it was Mac Jones, you could tell that Mac Jones felt pretty comfortable throwing Juwan Jennings the football.
Which is honestly shocking to me because Jennings didn't practice during OTAs.
Yeah.
He didn't practice during training. Like, he wasn't there for Mac Jones whatsoever, which is a testament to how Juwan plays, his skill set, and for Mac Jones, too. Some guys walk into games, the backup quarterback saying, I got one guy I can trust. And usually you want it to be George Kittle. He didn't have that guy. The way Mac Jones facilitated the football today, and for Kyle Shanahan, what a great game he called. Like,
I agree.
You talk about walking into a road opponent's home field advantage. Like, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome is a very tough place to play. The crowd is right. They're nuts. They're yelling at you. It's not Lumen Field in Seattle, but it's very close to that. And to walk into that place, to have Jake Tunges, Kyle Juszczyk, Jennings, Bourne, they even targeted MVS in this game. It wasn't a catch, but they were moving the football around to everybody, keeping that Saints defense on their heels, making them not feel predictable offensively. And you point to Juwan Jennings. 3rd and 11 is when that 42-yard touchdown came. 3rd and 11. If they don't make that play, we're sitting back, yelling and screaming like, oh, they lost this one. This one's over. How'd you miss that play? And this, that, and the other. But 3rd and 11, Mac Jones, a freaking dart to Juwan, runs with the limped up ankle, like the team's on his back. He's carrying the guys. Like, here we go. Darren Sharp, a toughest safety in the league type stuff. Like Greg Jennings in Madden 2011. Like, carry the team, Juwan, for a touchdown. So another team win. Another unselfish, everyone gets the football, defense does their part, the offense scores just enough and is clutch in certain moments. These wins are the best in football, where you walk away and you have some concerns, but you are not overly worried about where the direction of the team is. Niner fans should feel good. You won a game on the road with Mac Jones.
Yep.
That's a big deal for this team, so another great team win. Yeah,
it doesn't matter who your opponent is, Sterling, and this is what I was trying to get at early. When you are going into a game, and specifically a road game, in an environment like the Superdome, as you're talking about, you go into that kind of game, even if it's one of the worst teams in the league, with your backup quarterback. You know how few teams out there win that game? Like, there's not a lot of teams that go in and win that football game. The teams that have an ability to do it are the teams that you think of as legitimate Super Bowl contenders. You think of, all right, the Eagles probably have a good chance to go in there and win it. You think, all right, the Chiefs, because of that defense, they might have a chance to do it, and Mahomes is Mahomes, but they are a team around him. You think about some of the other teams that are, one of the better teams in the league. Like, would the Ravens, I don't know, maybe they just give the ball to Derrick Henry 30 times and they have a chance to win it. Like, those are the kind of teams you think of that would even have a chance. Niners go into this one without their quarterback, without George Kittle, their all-pro tight end. And you're talking about like two of the biggest swing players in terms of like deciding a game. Those are two of them. Yeah. Clearly it's the quarterback, no matter who your quarterback is. And then it's your key skill guys often. And you're favored. Vegas still thinks you're going to win, and you ultimately end up winning by 5. I mean, that's just a testament to, as you mentioned, Kyle Shanahan himself. And then everybody that stepped up in this game. Because the one thing that I want to make sure I get across, Sterling, is I don't want to hear really any of this. And if you feel this, you can hit us up and let us know, 888-957-9570. I don't want to hear any, well, it was just the Saints. This wasn't all that impressive. No, this was amazingly impressive. Without your quarterback, without George Kittle, and you win a game in an environment like this on the road, I don't care who the team is. I don't care if the Saints go 0-17, Sterling. This was an impressive win.
And it's important to not elevate San Francisco to the next tier of teams just yet, because that'll be foolish through 2 weeks. But you're right, Mark. What San Francisco did today, 28 teams in football, 26 teams in football couldn't do. Like, it takes a lot to win in the NFL with your starters in place, and you have the most important position, the guy you paid $53 million to in the offseason, not out there, a guy you're trusting to be the difference maker in close games. And I don't know if it means more for Mac, and I'm sure at some point people are going to say, well, I mean, the offense looked fine without Purdy, and, I'd rather have Purdy out there 100% of the time, but I think the Niners should hold their head high. Like, the players know this. It's insanely hard to go on the road, win healthy, and win football games. And I think, like you were saying, the Ravens maybe pull it out. The Chiefs do. The Eagles do. The Bills probably do. But those have elite quarterbacks, guys are game changers. And I think just to be able to trust this team to walk into an opponent, it's the Saints, whatever. Like, we get it. They're not going to be great this year. But you also give them momentum. Like the Niners walk into a place, backups in order. It's saying, hey, we got to figure this out. Like, the Saints see that and go, blood in the water. We have a chance. Like, let's play tough, get our first win, upset San Francisco. They're coming to our place, defend our home. Let's not go 0-2 in New Orleans. And what do? You survive a couple big shots by them early, you punch them right back in the face, and you essentially not walk all over them, but you have control of the game throughout to the very end. Like, that stuff matters. I'm sure San Francisco won the TOP again. If it didn't, it was really close. A somewhat commanding win.
31-29. It was basically even.
Okay, it's close. It's close. But a commanding win. They utilized Brian Robinson. They utilized Christian McCaffrey the way they should throughout the entire year, primarily as a wide receiver, get you a touchdown. So if you walk away thinking, oh, it's the Saints, oh, they're not good. No. Think twice. It isn't beating a great team on the road, but winning on the road is so hard by itself.
Do you remember, I forget where it was. Was it on the Rich Eisen show? George Kittle at some point in the offseason, I think it was on the Rich Eisen show. At some point in the offseason, George Kittle was on there talking about the schedule. I think Rich asked him about the schedule, and he essentially said, and the point was it's a very easy schedule. And George essentially said, I don't want to hear any of that. These are all NFL teams. We don't know if, some team that was bad last year turns out to be good this year, and that makes what we thought was an easy game and turns it into a really difficult game. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case with the Saints, although I mean, I'll ask you, Spencer Rattler to me starting looked a whole lot better than I was expecting through 2 weeks, and today specifically as well. I think this game probably turned out to be a little more challenging from a Saints perspective than we initially were thinking when this schedule came out. Not that the Saints are a quality team by any stretch of the imagination, but I think better just from a quarterback perspective than I thought they were going to be. So maybe Kittle is just saying that because he's respecting his fellow NFL players, yada, 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 who exactly knows. But the point does stand that just because a team was bad last year does not mean the team is going to be terrible this year. The Saints are probably going to be terrible this year, Sterling. But it does not mean this is a game that you should go in and win 100 times out of 100, no matter how many injuries that your team has going into the game.
And we have watched this regime mainly in 2019, 2022, and even 21 to a certain extent. Like, they won games close. They played a Saints team that was better than this, beat them 13-0 at home. Like, the Saints have always played San Francisco tough. That defense usually is in order, and they were today. Demario Davis is an ageless wonder in the middle of that Saints defense.
Did he pick up Christian McCaffrey at one point? Did I see that?
Hey, he may have. It was a fireman's carry. We're going to give you a John Cena attitude adjustment. Like, whoa, chill, man. Like, but that Saints defense is in order. And, I know Brandon Staley's the defensive coordinator, and I'm not big on him, as most people aren't in the NFL, but they come to play. They're not good enough to win a lot of football games, but they come to play. They're in games throughout, even last week against the Cardinals, who San Francisco plays next weekend.
Yep.
They had them. It was down to the wire, like one goal to go. You score a touchdown, you win, or you tie the football game up. So I think San Francisco, like, I did not walk into this game taking the Saints lightly. I knew they weren't good, but you cannot take anybody lightly. This team is prepared. They're ready to go. They're not good enough personnel-wise to win football games like this, but I think you come out saying, Saints maybe aren't going to be 0-17, but, they may upset some teams, and I guarantee you this. The Saints this year will be a winning team, and we'll all say, oh, wow, we will look back on this game and say it looks much better than it does in retrospect.
A winning team?
I believe that wholeheartly.
What do you mean by a winning team?
Like, you'll go week 10 against whoever they're playing, and they'll beat somebody that's like 6-4 or 5-2, whatever it is. They're going to beat a good, as we consider, playoff team down the stretch this year. And we're all going to say, wow, that week 2 game against the Saints looks a heck of a lot better when it's all said and done.
I thought you meant for a sec they were going to be above 500. They were going to go 9-8.
No.
I'm like, what the hell?
Let's not get too advantageous, Mark. Let's not get too crazy here on the show.
I'm keeping an eye on the YouTube chat, and you can join in youtube.com/957 the game. Everything we do on YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Shout out to everybody tuning in. TG, I see you. Let's see, who else? 49er, Fiva, Never Go Full Jeff, Chicago Jason, No, Nick, Bay, and a bunch of others. Keep the comments coming. I wanted to point out one comment that one of our favorite Chicago Jason made, and it's what we're kind of talking about right now, Sterling. Chicago Jason, a bit ago, I had to scroll back for it, wrote, against Spencer Rattler, come on, what are we doing? And that's the kind of energy that I disagree with, and appreciate you tuning in, Chicago Jason. Always love hearing from you, but I disagree with you. I thought Spencer Rattler looked good. Maybe you say it was the Niners defense that made him look good. I maybe there's a little bit there, but Spencer Rattler, I thought, looked good, made a lot of really nice throws. In fact, his receiving core did not help him. Olave a drop in the end zone, and Juwan Johnson 2 drops on perfectly thrown balls. Spencer Rattler's day could have been a whole lot better, and the way that he uses his legs makes it really difficult at times on defenses. I don't think I can find, did the Niners play a perfect football game, Sterling? No, of course not. It's rare that happens at all. But I can't really find a real way to be actually upset about the football game the Niners played today. And maybe some of it is expectations, and maybe the reason I feel that way is because I'm not just pretending that this is a Niner team that I expect to go to the Super Bowl. Like, that's not where my mindset is. We talked about this last week. Super Bowl is like 10 weeks from even entering my mind at this point.
If it ever does.
If it ever does, 10 weeks from now, they might be like 5-6 or whatever, and maybe I don't think that it's even a possibility. My point is, considering the circumstances going into this football game, it does not matter if it was Tom Brady or Spencer Rattler quarterbacking the opposing team. I would have been impressed with a win no matter what. I leave this game 26-21 Niners, impressed as hell that they got this win.
Well,
Thanks,
and you look, and I think, while, yes, we see Rattler being 0-7 coming in, now 0-8 as a starter coming in, as the Saints, there's preconceived notions about who the Saints are. And to some degree, those are very true. The Saints are not a good football team. But I do think Spencer Rattler, while yes, there's been terrible games, there's been games against the Packers last year, they got shut out. It was terrible. Oh, God, it's ugly. And sometimes we don't see the Saints play every single weekend because why would you want to watch that on a Sunday afternoon? You just don't want to tune into that. But I really think it's important for Niner fans to realize that Rattler is not terrible. Is he great? No. Is he good? Maybe. Who knows? He can make some plays. He is a better quarterback than I think some would say he is. I think he played a really confident game, went out there, didn't turn the ball over, besides the ending sack. But, that's a game on the line, make a play, boom, I got hit. What do you do kind of play? But he played confident. The mobility, I think, is a good test early for San Francisco.
Yep. The
wide 9, cover 3 usually doesn't fare well against guys like that. And you have Kyler Murray next weekend. This is almost a good litmus test as to where San Francisco's defense is against mobile quarterbacks, and I think they did pretty well. You can maybe argue, like you said, that Rattler's offense didn't help him out, and maybe if that touchdown happens early for Olave, we're having a whole different conversation. Yep. But I like the way Rattler played. He did well against the blitz, stood in the pocket well, navigated pressure. I walk away more impressed by Rattler's performance than knocking San Francisco's defense for how the game ended and how close it was. Rattler looked good in this game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I thought Rattler was really good. And the Niners defense, I think someone pointed this out, and this is actually on our Boxer and Gerson work injury attorneys text line, the 510. Niners defensive secondary is going to struggle versus strong offensive teams. I think it's a fair concern to have 510. If there's an area of the Niners defense that probably concerns me the most right now, it is the secondary. It makes a whole lot of sense considering that 2 of your 5 when you're in nickel, 2 of your 5 defensive backs are rookies. And when, Malik Mustafa gets healthy, that's only a second-year guy. And another one of the other ones, Renardo Green, is also a second-year guy. That's kind of an expected area of concern. But where I have been impressed, and I think specifically today by the defensive line, you saw more consistent pressure. You weren't amazing against the run. Kamara finished with 99 yards on 21 attempts, so a little less than 5 per carry, 4.7 per carry. Broke, a couple of ones in the teens. Other than that, not a huge amount of big plays on the ground. I thought largely the Niners were pretty good against the run, but there was more consistent pressure on Spencer Rattler, and it wasn't this is what did the Niners in last year, Sterling, and it happened time and time and time again to the point where you and I are ripping our hair out watching this defense where they just would not contain a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
You would rush from the outside, whether it was Bosa or whether it was
Leonard
Floyd. You would just you're on the outside and you cut to the inside, or you go all the way up above the tackle's pushing you up above the quarterback. You don't contain the edge. You don't hold the edge. You don't set the edge. And whoever the quarterback is, whether it's, Kyler Murray or any of the other mobile quarterbacks you played last year, they just take off, and on a big 3rd and 7, they run for 9 yards, first down, kill the rest of the clock, and they win the football game. That felt like it happened every single game. So on the defensive line, it's less about the number of sacks that they're getting, and they got 3 today, and 2 of them were drive ending in the 4th quarter, their final 2 drives. But it's also just not making the back-breaking mistake. And through just 2 games, I know it's a small sample, but through just 2 games, I have seen far fewer of those back-breaking mistakes, just those simple mistakes that this team made time and time again last year, and that alone will make this defense a lot better.
And don't let it be forgotten, the Saints are actually a really good pass-blocking team. They walked into this week, I think, a top 5 pass-blocking grade per PFF. They know how to give their quarterback, whether it be Rattler or Tyler Shugg, whoever it is, a pocket to throw in. And I thought that this was going to be a big test. You weren't going to get pressure. You're going to walk in here saying, hey, maybe the Saints offense can't move the football, but you're not going to get 3 sacks. You're not going to get 5 sacks. You're not going to have time to do those things. And I thought it was a great day for the defensive line. Obviously, you want more sacks. You want more pressure. Who doesn't? You always want more when it comes from your defense. But I find it really hard to kind of sit back and be like, you know what? I'm just not happy. Like, why would you not be happy? Like, 2-0, the defense held up multiple times, and if you're not going to get sacks and pressure throughout, at least do it when it matters most. And that's the important part here. 2, like you said, drive-ending sacks, get you off the field, get you a dub. Just like last weekend, you didn't get a lot of pressure. You didn't get many sacks. Boom, here comes Bosa. Bang, game over. If you're not going to get those through quarters 1 through 3, get it multiple times in quarter 4 and send you home happy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Niners win 26-21 in New Orleans. They're down their quarterback, Brock Purdy. They're down their all-pro tight end, George Kittle. Jawan plays. Trent plays. They were both questionable coming into this game. They both play, and the Niners win 26-21 on the backs of a 3-touchdown performance by Mac Jones. Their defense comes up big down the stretch. Nick Bosa, a drive-ending sack. Bryce Huff, a game-ending sack. And the Niners win this game 26-21. We're just getting started on overtime. It's Mark Randy, Sterling Bennett with you. Plenty of time for your calls and your texts at 888-957-9570. Who do you want to shout out? Because as Sterling said early, this was a team victory. Who do you want to shout out? Give us a call at 888-957-9570. Plus, before we get out of here today, we will hear from Kyle Shanahan and key Niners players. That's all on the way as overtime continues. Again, Grandy and Sterling with you. More next on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, it's Willard and Dibs for Safeway. Enjoy these amazing deals for Safeway members. And as always, save up to 20% weekly on hundreds of exclusive offers with For You on the Safeway app. Here we go. USDA Choice Boneless Beef Tri-Tip Roast Untrimmed Twin Pack, just $6.99 per pound. Pairs well with Decoy Cabernet Sauvignon. What doesn't? 750 milliliter bottles for just $15.54 each, or mix and match 6 or more for just $13.99 each, plus CRV.
Exclusive digital coupon on a dozen Lucerne cage-free eggs, large grade AA, just $3.97 each, limit 1.
Did you say a dozen eggs?
I said a dozen eggs.
For $3.97?
I did.
Excellent.
Excellent. Another exclusive digital coupon on Lucerne chunk or shredded cheese, 32-ounce selected varieties, just $5.97 each, limit 4.
All right. The app is simple to use, makes it easy to save money. Go to Safeway.com for more details, and we'll see you in the aisles.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath.
High five.
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm? Totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Hi, I'm John Ray, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. Getting engaged? So friends in the Bay, listen up. Shane Company engagement rings are protected with our all-inclusive free lifetime warranty. We stand behind the same quality we've offered since 1929. Our rings are crafted to last. It's why our warranty is the only one that protects your center stone. We also cover repairs, resizings, cleanings, and so much more. That's money you keep for you and your family, because a friend always has your back. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten, classics are remixed, bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at Xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Why is Macy's one-day sale the one sale you can't miss? For starters, you'll find our best prices of the month on fall's top trends, like $99.99 for trenches and barn jackets, diamond bracelets $249, and for cozy nights in, comfy sheets at $19.99 and under. Plus, it's Star Money bonus days, when Star Rewards members can earn Star Money faster. Not a member yet? Join for free online or in-store. Don't miss Macy's one-day sale today. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Your cold is coming. Your cold is coming. When you feel a cold coming, shorten it with Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand.
Oh, no, not before my big trip.
The big trip you've been planning is coming up, and so is your cold. But Zicam can shorten your cold and get you back to planning sooner.
Thanks, Revere.
We really should keep Zicam in the house.
Shorten your cold with Zicam.
Take it from America's most revered messenger. Shorten your cold at the first sign with cold shortening products from Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand. Available in stores or see where to buy at Zicam.com.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills. Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco, on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
Third and 6, they bring pressure, picked up, Jones throws, open, and it's caught! Jennings down the sideline. Clock will continue to run. They'll hurry up to the line. He's out at the 31.
Now back to overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. After another Niner win, they're 2-0 to begin 2025. 26-21 the final in New Orleans. I'm Mark Grandy, Sterling Bennett with you here on 95.7 The Game. And Sterling, I'm glad that our guy Cam behind the glass came back with that Juwan Jennings catch. I don't know exactly which one that was, but I know it was on that drive at the end of the first half where the Niners scored a touchdown on not quite a 2-minute drill, more like a 1-minute drill by Mac Jones and the offense.
Yeah.
That might have been the drive that I was most impressed by Mac Jones because they got the ball with 1:10 left in the second quarter. They go 9 plays, 77 yards in 1 minute and 7 seconds. They score a touchdown. It was the Christian McCaffrey who lined up in the right slot, ran an out towards the back right corner of the end zone. Good throw by Mac Jones. McCaffrey catches it, 7-yard touchdown. Niners score not quite as time expires, but essentially as time expires, and they got the ball to begin the second half as well, which we know Kyle Shanahan loves probably more than his own children. He loves trying to double up. But it was that Juwan Jennings catch. He had a 13-yard catch and run, and then a 29-yard catch and run down the left sideline that got the Niners deep into New Orleans territory. We talked about Juwan a little bit in our first hour, Sterling, but Juwan had 2 big catches on that drive, and that was probably the biggest drive of the game because the Niners go 77 yards in 1 minute, score before the half, and Juwan Jennings was a really, really big part of it. Juwan just has an axe, Sterling. It doesn't matter if he's upset with his contract or not, has more incentives, has fewer incentives. When he's out there, he's the same guy, and the guy that he was today specifically on that drive was at his best in the big moments. That's just who Juwan Jennings is.
Do you think every catch he makes, every yard he racks up, he's like, that's another million. That's another million in my bank account. Like, oh, the incentives are getting reached.
He's got like a progress bar, you know, and you have to have so many catches or so many yards, and he's just, all right, now I'm 15% of the way there. Let's just keep it turning. Now 16%, and so on and so forth.
on the broadcast, they should have a Juwan Jennings incentive counter on the screen instead of the ticker. Show me. I don't want the score bug. Give me the Juwan Jennings incentive bug in the middle of that broadcast for me. But you're right. I believe the highlight that Cam played coming back was with 52 seconds left. Talk about 3rd and Juwan. It's 3rd and 6. Bang, 31 yards. San Francisco obviously capitalizes and scores a touchdown, but that drive was impressive. That drive was one that you're sitting back like, going to get timid, run the football a couple times. Is Kyle going to say we'll play for the second half and we'll see how the game goes? But no, thankfully he was aggressive. Thankfully they have a minute and 14 to score, but you just never know with Kyle sometimes. Like, what is Shanahan going to do? He does like keeping us on our toes as the fan base. So good on him. You marched 77 yards in 9 plays, not including the little spike to stop the clock. Yep. But Mac Jones on that drive was as good as you can possibly be. 7 for 9, not including the spike, 77 yards. And again, 2 massive plays, touchdown to Chris McCaffrey, 31 yards to Juwan Jennings. That was by far the cleanest this offense has looked maybe the entire season. That first drive against Seattle was really good too, but to march down the field in a defense probably thinks you're going to be aggressive, hit a few big plays, and it was awesome. It was like my mind can't comprehend what Mac Jones just did because he never does this, and he did it for the Niners.
Yeah. I mean, so that 2-minute drill that we're talking about, and really it was quicker than that. It was more like a 1-minute drill. Today is not the day for anyone being upset at Shanahan. I think we saw a text come in, and I'll get to it a little bit later, but someone basically explained exactly the only reason why someone could be upset with Shanahan today. We could touch on that in a little bit. But like last week, end of first half drive versus this week, end of first half drive was so much better. And the difference is because the Niners got the ball with only like a minute left this time. If you give the Niners the ball at the end of the half, where they have the ball to begin the second half, as they have had in each of the first 2 games this year, if you give them the ball to begin that drive at the end of the first half with like 3 minutes on the clock, Shanahan gets into this really weird zone where he just goes super conservative because he's trying to move the ball, but at the same time, he's trying to kill a ton of clock. Because even if he doesn't score or doesn't score a touchdown, he wants to avoid giving the ball back to the opponent with any meaningful time left on the clock. But when you give him the ball with a whole field to go and only 1 minute on the clock, I swear to God, Shanahan morphs into the best play caller in the world. Like, he just, I don't understand it. Like, Kyle, if you could just go out and pretend like you have 1 minute on the clock, every drive, the Niners would score a touchdown on every single drive. I swear to God. So today is not the day for that Shanahan frustration, but it was very apparent in my mind, Sterling. Comparing the end of first half last week to the end of first half this week, I know one was Brock and one was Mac. That's not the difference to me. Both are capable of doing that, as we have seen from them. Yeah. It's just the way in which the offense operates. It's different if it's a 3-minute drive or a 1-minute drive, and today it was the 1-minute drive, which is the good Kyle Shanahan.
It's almost like when Kyle has that one-track mind of like, I just need to score. He goes full Jimmy Neutron, brain blast, and it like reaches the ethereal plane and is like, we're going to get this done no matter what. He goes like rage mode and just is like, all I see is the red zone, the end zone, nothing else. I have my blinders on. And the offense becomes this like, highly fueled machine. They're oiled up. They're whatever it is. Like, they just find a way to score points. And it's like, you know what? Just take a knee on first down. Take 35 seconds off the clock and then give it a rip. Like, make it easier for you, Kyle. Like, there's no need to, it's almost like you give him everything at his disposal, and it's like, what do I do? But once he gets, I have to score. That's the mindset. He can do it with a backup quarterback on the road without George Kittle. That was a great drive. Obviously, the idea of doubling up didn't work out well because Mac Jones was like, I have 17 seconds to throw. I don't see an edge rusher. I'm blinded. It takes a hit, and you're like, what just happened? Like, my grandmother could have saw that, and she ain't been alive for 15 years. Like, what's going on? Like, come on, Mac Jones. But that one drive was really great from him and the offense. Kyle was on another level on that end of first half drive.
You're talking about the drive to begin the second half where there was the strip sack of Mac Jones at the very end of that drive. It was Rumpf was the pass rusher for the Saints. He beat Colton McKivitz.
Did we call that getting beat, though? Because he sat in that pocket for a long time.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. You blame that sack much more on Mac Jones than on McKivitz, right?
Honestly, I think San Francisco's pass protection was really good the minute Ben Barch didn't play and got hurt. And look, I hope he gets healthy for them, but he did
not return.
Colby was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, Connor Colby, 7th-round pick, held up extremely well, and the offense looked better, I think, with him on the football field. So week 3 against the Cardinals, I'd probably play Connor Colby, but Mac Jones had a lot of time to throw today in that first half and early second half, and he held on to the ball a lot.
He did.
And I get it, you want to go through your progressions, but on that play specifically, just throw it away. Give me a little. We saw he can scramble for 12 yards. He had a little kind of cutback, and it was like, ooh,
yeah.
What was that?
He wasn't shying away from contact either. And I guarantee you at one point, Kyle Shanahan pulled him aside on the sideline and said, Mac, you cannot take hits, brother. We have no one else behind you. Please do not take any hits. If it means getting an extra yard or 2, I don't care. Go down, stay safe. Because while, yes, you are a backup and it's not perfect even with you, if you happen to go down and we have to turn it to the third string Martinez, my God.
Martinez.
Not even
UFL
Kyle
legend.
Shanahan can make that work. So please, Mac, go down. Just knowing a little bit about Mac Sterling, that's not really, I think, the way that he operates. Also, if he were to try to slide, it would probably be the most awkward thing ever. Because that's just the kind of guy that he is. But please just slide and save yourself.
You're either getting McCorkled or he's McCorkling you, man. Sometimes you're like, this is awesome. I don't know how this happened. Like, it's so awkward and clumsy, but you walk out of this game saying it may not be pretty sometimes, but as long as the job gets done at the end of the day, we've all seen the photo. If he's out there with the stogie in his mouth and he's got the beer gut out and he's out there smoking with the big win, I'll take it every single weekend.
Oh, yeah, that image of Mac Jones in the Alabama locker room.
So good.
When he's throwing to all pros all over the place and has a bunch of NFL offensive linemen blocking for him, and he's sitting there in the locker room as if he was reason number one that the Crimson Tide got it done. But, yeah, he was awesome in this game. We talked about the offensive line for a sec, and I recall three injuries to keep an eye on. One was Upton Stout. He was shaken up in the fourth quarter, jogged to the sideline. He ultimately returned on the final drive, but we'll have to wait and hear from Kyle Shanahan about Upton Stout. The bigger ones, the guys that did not return, I guess I could also include Juwan, a guy that limped off but returned. Kyle Juszczyk ruled out in the first half with a concussion, so I would imagine he's going to have to go through protocol, and we will see if he clears that and is ready for week 3, the home opener versus the Cardinals. And then the one that you just brought up, Ben Barch, who left the game in the first quarter with an ankle injury, was pretty quickly ruled questionable to return and then was ruled out at halftime. And to your point, Connor Colby is the guy, 7th-round rookie, who filled in for Ben Barch at left guard. And remember, Barch is the guy replacing Aaron Banks. Banks left in free agency to the Packers. The decision for the Niners was Ben Barch is the left guard in waiting, essentially. He was on this team last year. Very risky. Hasn't played much at all and has had a really hard time staying healthy, and that has already come true this year. He also left the game week 1 in Seattle before returning. And ultimately, he leaves this game, misses the final 3 quarters of this one. But Connor Colby came in, Sterling, and unless you have a trained eye, unless you had the game, the volume on, and you heard the announcers talking about Ben Barch being out and Connor Colby being in, I don't think many people would be able to realize that the Niners were down to their backup left guard. I thought Connor Colby had himself a hell of a real first NFL debut.
Am I wrong to think that the pass protection got better? Like, there was a couple shaky plays in that first half, and like that first drive for San Francisco was ugly. It was like, this is what it's going to look like. 3 and out. There's pressure on Mac Jones. I think he got sacked in that drive. It just wasn't good.
The first play was the play action boot, and he immediately had pressure in his face. And with Mac Jones and his lack of mobility, that's a scary sight, Sterling.
Yeah, you're like, oh my goodness, like sitting duck, ready to get laid out.
Exactly.
But then Barch gets hurt, and again, we want Barch to be healthy for his own sake, but it was a risk. He was hurt in training camp. He was hurt in preseason. He was hurt before the year even began. And it was like, this is the guy? Like, and look, again, get healthy, please. Like, don't want anybody to be hurt. But I don't think I'm wrong to think that at least giving Connor Colby an opportunity and watching how he played in this game, albeit against a Saints defense that is not world beaters, he held up fairly well. I think the left side of the offensive line that really struggled against Seattle, Trent was better today, obviously, while he was injured with the knee. But Connor Colby was awesome. In pass protection, there was more running lanes opened for this offense. I thought Christian McCaffrey had lanes to run. Brian Robinson had some yards today. I think that he earned them, yes, but also he had ways to move around and find holes to run too. So I am kind of hoping that Connor Colby gets the start to week 3 against the Cardinals. I think he's better right now.
The Saints had 3 sacks of Mac Jones today. One by Rumph. We talked about that was the strip sack at the very beginning of the second half. And then Carl Granderson had the other 2. Those other 2 came in the first half. It was on the second drive of the game. Jones was sacked. And then there was another one towards the end of the first half when he was also sacked. I can't recall off the top of my head exactly who got beat on the offensive line on those ones. But beyond that, yeah, I thought the pass protection was pretty good. The rest of the times that Jones was pressured or was facing any kind of danger, it felt to me more so because he was holding on to the ball as opposed to an offensive lineman getting flat beat. And those relationships are always intertwined, and sometimes it's difficult. We see a sack and we say, well, it was the edge rusher that beat McKivitz. That's McKivitz's fault. Not necessarily so much of this is going to be about the quarterback's decision making. But I'm with you. I don't necessarily say that it was a market improvement once Ben Barch went down. I just think in general the offensive line protecting their quarterback was so much better this week than last. I am maybe a little bit concerned about the run blocking, Sterling, which if you would have asked me through 2 weeks, would you have been more concerned about the run blocking or the pass blocking? I definitely would have answered pass blocking, but through 2 games, you have not seen a whole lot of room for the Niners on the ground. And part of that today is probably the Saints realizing Niners have a backup quarterback, a bunch of receivers who don't have a lot of reps with this specific quarterback and just got signed off the street. Like, let's take away McCaffrey and the run game as best we can. Let Mac Jones beat them. Now, Mac Jones eventually did. That's probably part of it. But through 2 games, we haven't seen a lot for the Niners in terms of really just putting a team away on the ground.
Well, and does that make Mac Jones' performance more impressive of, okay, like we all thought, run the football, get into play action, open up things for you, get guys in space, you can scheme guys open for your quarterback, which isn't the most trustworthy guy in the world. He has 45 interceptions on his entire career, and today was his 50th start. It's not the guy he usually wanted as your backup, and you can trust a lot, but I thought Mac Jones, albeit there was some throws, you're like, that's behind a guy that was almost picked off, and you had MVS and you had, I think it was Braden Willis playing some kind of defense on balls that were in the air.
Yeah, that Braden Willis one was probably his, like, the most turnover-worthy throw that he made. Yeah. And that could have been a pick six
on a good day for a defense.
That was scary. But other than that, I can't think he had other misses. He had a lot of, like, just bad misses where it was nowhere near being caught, but also nowhere near a defender. So, like, if you're going to miss, I guess that's the way to miss. But that one to Willis, off the top of my head, Sterling, was the only one that I can think of was, hold your breath, that might be an interception.
The MVS one may have been equally as bad because there was, like, 4 Saints in the area. And it was like, what are you doing? Like, but it's early in the game. He's probably a little amped up, trying to make a play on a 3rd down. But thankfully, though, like I was a big fan of Mac Jones at Alabama now at 3 overall, obviously not dynamic enough to take there, but he was able to do this with all pros in college. Got to the NFL, a Pro Bowl reserve with the 10-7 Patriots in year one, got blown out in Buffalo in the playoffs.
Made the playoffs as a rookie. I mean,
he did, but defensive head coaches, not really an offensive guru to help him out. He just didn't have the right things in place, the right leadership for him. But you get him with Kyle Shanahan, an offense that his skill set should flourish in, and I think he had a great day. Won the football game with his arm. I don't think that was one takeaway we thought was going to happen coming out of week 2. So knowing Mac Jones played the Saints defense, again, are they great? I don't know, but he won this game with his arm. And that's a really big thing, a big confidence boost for him too. You saw him out there celebrating in the end zone. You're like, all right, like I can get behind this dude. Okay,
he was
like
feeling it on that touchdown to Jawan Jennings. Oh my God!
I'm a Bourbon Street baddie, baby. Let's go. Give me some beads, brother. We're having a great time out here in New Orleans.
You knew if this was a bowl game back in college, he'd be on Bourbon Street right now, Sterling. He'd be having some fun. But
he's not making that plane ride home.
Niners getting on the plane and flying back to Santa Clara. There's no time for that. You're in the pros now, buddy. Shanahan ain't gonna let you do that one. You're probably gonna have to start the home opener as well.
But yes, the confidence, the swag from Mac. Obviously, it was close, only a 5-point margin of victory. But we did get a little bit of cocky, arrogant Mac Jones, and if you can instill that confidence in your backup quarterback, that does kind of permeate through the rest of the team. Okay, like we can kind of calm down now. We have confidence in the quarterback to get things done. So, Mac Jones, very fun to watch. A little scared still whenever he drops back, but you got the win and you played well. So chalk it up 2-0 Niners win, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, you were talking about Mac Jones and in New England, and obviously that was a defensive team, and they did not have a lot of weapons. I mean, Kendrick Bourne was basically wide receiver 1 for the Patriots when Mac Jones was a rookie, and that was Kendrick Bourne's best year as a pro. Nothing against Kendrick Bourne, but that's just kind of what that offense was. It was not, by any stretch, an incredibly talented offense. And then he fell out of favor there eventually last year in Jacksonville and essentially played the entire second half of the season once Trevor Lawrence went down with an injury. He had Brian Thomas, who had an amazing rookie year. And by the way, Brian Thomas was like quite a bit better with Mac Jones as the quarterback than he was with Trevor Lawrence, which is interesting. Some of that might be as a rookie. The Trevor Lawrence portion of the year was the first half of the year and maybe just natural for a rookie to improve as the season goes on. But interesting to note that. But Jacksonville was a disaster last year from a coaching standpoint, from a play calling standpoint. So by no means a good situation there either. One of the talking points coming into this week, Sterling, and I guess just in general about Mac being the Niners' backup, was if he were to ever play for the Niners, this is going to be football heaven for him, right? Football nirvana, because suddenly you've got an all-pro running back, you've got an all-pro tight end. Maybe when he plays, Ayuk will be back, and you've got Pearsall, who's ready for a second-year leap, and Trent Williams as your left tackle, and one of the best, if not the best, play caller in the NFL. This is the best spot that Mac Jones has ever had since he was throwing to Devontae Smith, and he had Brian Robinson as his back or as his running back, and all of these stars that are now playing really good football in the NFL. Best situation that he's been in. But specific to this game, Sterling, without George Kittle, obviously Brock Purdy's out, so he's playing. And the run game, you didn't get a ton from it, and McCaffrey was playing, but still. And you come into this game with concerns about almost every position on the offensive line. I wasn't convinced that this was going to immediately look like Mac Jones at or near his best. I was concerned just because of the situation around Mac. Not because I thought Mac is a terrible quarterback, but because the great situation that Mac might have been promised if he were to get a start was not the case today because of all the other injuries. But he performed a whole lot better than I was possibly expecting. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the way that he played. Like we spend so much time talking about Brock Purdy and is it a product of the system or is he making the system? And the reality is all quarterbacks are system quarterbacks to a certain extent. But I thought Mac Jones was really, really good. And while he, can only be he can only succeed based on the situations that he is being put in, I thought he did a really good job elevating each play call that he was given. And he's one of the top reasons, if not the top reason, the Niners won this game.
Well, this is also a reason why they try to trade for him last year to back up Brock Purdy. Like, he was a guy they targeted when the Patriots were shopping him, and he goes to the Jaguars. So it's not like Kyle or John Lynch have not been trying to get Mac Jones in this offense for probably the better half of 4 years now. At least Shanahan has been doing his part to get him here. So they definitely have been wanting him to play in the offense, whether it be a starter or a backup, for a while. And I think you saw it. Like, this is why. Because they believe at least he can facilitate things correctly, play point guard. He has a good enough arm. Like, Mac Jones has always had the arm to play in the NFL. It is the decision-making that's a problem. It's the mobility he doesn't have that's a problem. And, kind of like Sam Darnold, it's playing for a really bad Jets team that has a defensive head coach. Mac Jones, bad Patriots team, defensive head coaches. Same thing in Jacksonville, too. You have Doug Peterson, a guy that got fired halfway through the year last year, and just it wasn't great for him. So get him in a good situation like this. And funny enough, we all talked about, him and Kendrick Bourne, they were in New England together. His first touchdown pass today was to Luke Farrell, his tight end last year with the Jaguars.
Never connected with Farrell for a touchdown last year, though, Sterling.
No.
Because this was Farrell's first NFL touchdown.
But you continue that of, improbable, Luke Farrell, big touchdown. That was Luke Farrell's first touchdown ever in the NFL. But his last touchdown came in 2020 in the Sugar Bowl against Clemson.
Wow.
Funny enough, also in the Superdome. Hey, Farrell's money, baby, in the Superdome. Never let him leave. That's his spot. Man.
So, touchdowns for the Niners to pass catchers, not rushing. In fact, they don't have a rushing touchdown this year. All Niners touchdowns have been through the air. We have Kittle. We have Tonjes. We have Farrell. We have McCaffrey, and we have Jennings. Those are the 5 touchdown passes this year. How creative? 3 tight ends and a running back among the 5 touchdown passes for the 49ers. And the one to a wide receiver was a guy who basically refused to play, whether for injury or contract reasons, all preseason long.
Dude, if you would have told... This may be the most touchdowns to different tight ends in the entire Shanahan-Lynch regime. Like, they don't throw to tight end twos. It's Ross Dwelley and George Kittle. And the day Dwelley got touchdown passes, Kittle wasn't playing.
Yep.
So it's like, this feels like, hey, third tight ends, you lost Kyle Juszczyk. You didn't have really your second tight end today. You want to talk about it. They were going deep.
That's
doing
crazy.
This game. And, hey, look, they got the win, 26-21. 2-0. How does that feel? 2-0, Mark.
It feels amazing. I mean,
really
you looked at the schedule.
Could you say it feels great, baby?
Feels great, baby. It does.
There
Shout
we
out
go.
Jimmy G.
Number 10 playing quarterback, Kendrick Bourne out there. It's 2019 all over again.
Yeah, by the way, Jimmy G's Rams got a win in Tennessee today, 33-19, the final score. So the Rams also 2-0, the Niners 2-0, the Seahawks won today, so they're 1-1. Arizona currently leading Carolina late first half 13-3. So we might have 3 2-0 teams atop the NFC West if Arizona holds on there, and then the Seahawks at 1-1. We shall see. Time for a break. When we come back, we got to hear from Kyle Shanahan. We talked about some of the injuries, Ben Barch, Kyle Juszczyk, what happened with Upton Stout and Juwan Jennings, who left but returned. We will get that update and a whole lot more from Kyle Shanahan. Plus, plenty of time for your calls and your texts at 888-957-9570. It's overtime on 95.7 The Game. The Niners win 26-21, and they're 2-0 in 2025. That's Sterling. I'm Grandy. Back with more next on 95.7 The Game.
Football is back, and so is your shot at big wins. With DraftKings Pick 6, the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, your game day instincts can score you real money fast. Here's the play. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, from breakout rookies to elite QBs, and unlock the upside every snap brings. The better your calls, the bigger your payout. New DraftKings customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. This season, play your player instincts. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THEGAME. That's code THEGAME. Play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 bonus picks. Make the call. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Hi, I'm Becca, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As an in-house designer, I can't wait for you to see our incredible selection of stylish and stackable rings. If you're shopping for your wedding bands, we have high-quality designs for every style and budget, from romantic to modern. If you're looking to add to a stack, your options are endless. Discover styles with clusters of gemstones, sleek all-metal designs, updated cigar bands, and signet rings perfect for an engraving. Because a friend knows you like options. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Doors and loading dock equipment are a crucial part of your business, and one you probably don't think much about until they break. A broken door or dock leveler can be a real security threat, along with disturbing the flow of goods in your business. Luckily, RNS is here for all your commercial door, dock, and gate needs. From overhead doors and security shutters to fire-rated and personnel doors, RNS can provide your business with safety and security. Call 800-FIX-A-DOOR to schedule a free estimate or visit rsdoors.com. RNS Doors. Look for the red truck.
Getting directions, texting Janine and shipping, on us. The broken coffee maker? That one's still on you, which means you'll save hundreds for your business and get the fastest mobile service with 5G cellular and Wi-Fi hotspots on us. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Get a mobile plan and free up the budget to maybe, I don't know, fix that coffee maker? Get mobile on us for 1 year, you guessed it, on us. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 10/9/25. Restrictions apply. New mobile customers only with internet standard service or above. Limited to value of one unlimited intro line apply via 12 monthly internet bill credits. One discount per account. Fastest mobile based on mobile Wi-Fi and cellular data in service areas. Ookla Speed Test Intelligence 2H24.
I am dedicated. I am TNT. With Team in Training, you will reach your best physical self so blood cancer patients can reach theirs. Change your life by joining a marathon, half marathon, triathlon, or a cycle event, and you'll change the lives of blood cancer patients. I am committed. I am TNT. After 600,000 participants and almost $1 billion raised for treatments, TNT has helped the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society make a significant impact in the advancement of blood cancer therapies that save lives every day. I am making a difference. I am TNT. Join TNT. Expand your circle of friends to be part of a very special community. Train with world-class trainers and have the chance to be part of the most exciting endurance sports events in the country. Or train on your own schedule with TNT Flex. Join TNT and fundraise while you train and take part in getting us all closer to a world without blood cancers. Join TNT now. Go to teamintraining.org.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Another teenager, victim to fake pills bought from social media. This doesn't seem like a drug deal, but it definitely is. Should buying prescription pills be that easy? Many fake pills contain fentanyl, and an amount small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil can be lethal. So listen, before buying pills from social media, think again. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org and go for real. Brought to you by USPTO and the National Crime Prevention Council.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
Keeping your family safe starts with making an emergency plan. Visit safetyactioncenter.pge.com to get started today. And listen to all the interviews from this year's Ember Stop Wildfire Preparedness event, sponsored by PG&E, and how to stay ready in case of an emergency at 957thegame.com.
And here it comes, Mac Jones in a clean pocket, floats it for McCaffrey, makes the catch, touchdown, San Francisco! Picture-perfect throw from Mac Jones to Christian McCaffrey to cap a beautiful 2-minute touchdown drive.
Now back to overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, we are, and the Niners are 2-0. 26-21 is the final score. That highlight you just heard called by Kevin Kugler on Fox. A Christian McCaffrey 7-yard touchdown pass from Mac Jones with 7 seconds left in the first half. That put the Niners in front 16-7. They ultimately go on to win 26-21, and they are 2-0 in 2025. 2 narrow wins, 17-13 versus the Saints last week, 26-21 today. Niners are winners in both. They're 2-0, and welcome back to overtime here on 95.7 The Game. I'm Mark Grandy, Sterling Bennett with you. Sterling, I just can't get over the fact that this is a Niner team that feels entirely different. The Niners last year, they faced a lot of the same adversity that this team is facing already this year in terms of injuries, right? Like, I mean, Purdy missed that game in Green Bay, and the obviously opponent matters, but also the way in which the game flows and the way it feels also matters. You know, obviously wins and losses matter, but the way that things went last year, when just a small thing here or there went wrong, it felt like it spiraled and it snowballed to the point where there was no stopping it until ultimately resulted in a loss. I know we're only 2 games in, and I know today was the Saints, who are in all likelihood going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I just can't get past how different it feels, Sterling, that this is a team that is finding a way to fight through that adversity, find ways to win close football games, because there's no doubt last year this team would be 0-2 at this point in the season. Not necessarily because like they have worse talent. Like they might have, same amount of talent. Like they got younger talent that is probably going to turn into more talent at some point. Maybe it is this year, but it's not as if they went out and got on paper a much better football team this year. Most would tell you it's probably a worse team on paper this year than it was last year. Yet they found a way to win both these football games. I just can't describe how different it feels considering the way they won both these games, because they were on the wrong side of this kind of game like 8 different times last year.
To use like an NBA analogy, it feels like they turned the ball over. Unlike last year, though, or thankfully, like this year, they're able to get the chase down block and recover off the turnover to stop the opposing team from scoring, to kind of getting back momentum. Where, again, in this game, it felt like that the Saints were starting to come alive. The offense got sparked kind of out of nowhere, really, on a big third down conversion, I believe it was. And, you know, they're marching down the football field. You give them the football on your side or close to your side, and here they come. And you're on your heels. Your defense just played a long drive, and the offense gives it back really quick. And, Fred Warner gets a big fumble, which, funny enough, did you see the broadcast, the stat they showed? Alvin Kamara, 4 career fumbles against San Francisco. 3 of them, or 3, against other teams.
Wow.
The Niners own Alvin Kamara, and I think back to 2022 it was, at Levi Stadium. San Francisco wins 13-0. The last time they played the Saints throughout the last couple years, Talanoa Hufanga forces a fumble at the goal line to stop the Saints from getting a touchdown. Like, he just somehow finds a way, which today wasn't really a mistake. It was more of like, I got it, I don't got it, I got it, now you have it, oh crap. That game, like, he fumbles all the time against San Francisco, and he's a great player. He is equal footing of Christian McCaffrey in my eyes when it comes to legacy in the NFL. He's awesome. Like, 7 touchdown game a couple years back, and you're like, oh my God. Like, who is this
Won
dude?
me a fantasy championship that day. I remember it well. It was Christmas Day.
Man, what a great Christmas present it was to you. But what a great September 14th present for San Francisco. Fred Warner getting there you go, from Alvin Kamara. But this team continually, through 2 weeks, mind you, finds a way to bounce back and be able to take a little push, a little bit of pressure, and turn that into wins, which last year this team would fold so quickly. The coaching's awesome. Just seeing Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh on the sideline, smiling through somewhat adversity after wins of like, whoo, got another one, Kyle, got another one, Robert. Like, I went back and looked at Robert Saleh's record with the Jets. never had more than 7 wins in a season. He's already got 2. I'm sure he's feeling pretty good right now back in the Bay.
Talking a little bit about Niners Saints memories with all those Kamara fumbles. My mind obviously immediately goes back to 2019 when the Niners in the Superdome win that shootout 48-46, the George Kittle 4th down conversion, carries like 3 Saints players for an extra 15 yards, plus the face mask, leads the Niners to that walk-off field goal win there in that one, which helped them get the 1 seed in the NFC. I also, of course, you think about that playoff game at Candlestick at the beginning of the Harbaugh era, and
Pierre Thomas getting rocked.
The crazy hit by Dante Whitner, and then you had the Alex Smith designed quarterback run around the left side, followed up by the Jimmy Graham 70-yard touchdown. You think the season's over. Then you have the big completion to Vernon Davis to get them into scoring range. Then Vernon Davis with the catch part 3. The Niners win that game. That's a crazy Niners Saint memory. One that's underrated that pops up in my mind, Sterling, and this is more of a bad one. It was 2013 in the Superdome. The Ahmad Brooks sack of Drew Brees, which caused a fumble the Niners recovered. That was called for a penalty, a personal foul, which was not a personal foul. He did not hit Drew Brees' neck or head. He hit him in the chest. There's the slow-mo replay of, I swear to God, you can see Drew Brees' neck
like
extend.
3 feet away from his body.
But
he's Mr. Fantastic or something.
That, to this day, is still one of the more frustrating Niners losses that I can remember, because that was not a penalty on Ahmad Brooks. That was a strip sack. Niners would have gotten the ball and won the football game. They ultimately lose that one, but that one pops into mind. But honestly, Niners Saints, this is not going to be one that we remember for years and years, because the Saints in all likelihood are not going to be much of anything. But this Niners Saints rivalry, Sterling, quietly has a lot of really good moments in it.
Thankfully, they have gone mainly in San Francisco's way. But if it was a negative one, we wouldn't be talking about it as much. Nobody really wants to talk about the Chiefs right now for obvious reasons. But yes, when these two teams match up, no matter how good or bad they are, and they have been really good whenever they seem to match up besides today, they do find a way to make it a good game, a close game, to make it nail-biting towards the end, or make you feel some sort of emotion, whether it's good or bad. And today was no different. Again, the Saints aren't going to be a great team this year when it's all said and done, but they gave San Francisco a fight. And let me ask you this, though. When Eddie Pinheiro missed that first PAT, how are you feeling, Mark?
Oh, my
I was like, deja vu, brother.
Honestly, we can say this now because he followed it up with, he made all of his other extra points, and then he made a 44-yard field goal and a 46-yard field goal. So he was good today, and there's not really a whole lot that we can actually complain about there. So now that I have that context to back it up, Sterling, I think it's hilarious and just great bit that the Niners kicking teams are going through at this point.
It's a bit. They're doing it on purpose now. Keep you on your toes.
I mean, honestly, hilarious. Absolutely hilarious that happened. If it cost him a win, it's an entirely different conversation. And in the moment, I was more just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Yeah. But looking back on it now, there's no more of a funny result than that. Missing your first ever kick as a 49er.
And another one.
And it was an extra point? Man, but he was good the rest of the game, so we can forgive him.
The NFL gods seem to have a sense of humor after all, of you know what, we're going to make you guys feel like it's not going to work out, but keep you on your toes for one more kick. And I will say this, though. Look, Jake Moody with Chicago now, they got their butt kicked today by the Lions, which was expected in my opinion, but we'll see what happens to him in his career. How great does it feel to not really have to worry about kicker? When Pinheiro walked out there, I wasn't like, oh, here comes a miss. It was like, oh, thank God. You got the guy that can actually be a difference maker in the game. He had 6 points on field goals. They won by 5. Thank God for Eddie Pinheiro today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're right. You have more faith, I would imagine, just in terms of the accuracy of Pinheiro than you do Moody. The leg strength is a different question, although Moody wasn't necessarily amazing in that regard either, so I never really fully understood that argument in favor of Moody. But the main thing for me, Sterling, isn't necessarily every time you want your kicker to go out there, you want to feel good about it. But I think the larger point just is you can't continue trotting out Jake Moody and just hope that it fixes itself. You have to make a move. Now, TBD if the move is going to prove to be the winning move. But, for me, I think for me, the conversation is already done. Like, Pinheiro could struggle, and he could get replaced, but that doesn't mean that the decision to move on from Moody was the wrong one. You know what I mean? They already closed the book on this whole situation just by moving on from him in the first place. Now, if Pinheiro struggles to a certain degree, you have to move on from him too. But we're done just waiting for what is the breaking point here, because we have actually gotten to that breaking point. Now, with that said, you hope Pinheiro makes every kick that he attempts, of course, and you hope he never cost the Niners a game, as has happened with Jake Moody. But for me, that whole kicker convo is kind of done because they moved on from him. They signed who they felt was the best available guy, and now it's a new chapter. And until something changes that, I'm kind of done thinking about it, honestly.
Through the uprights every single time. Down the middle. It was nice. It was clean.
Very clean. Like 44-yard field goal and a 46-yard field goal. We're going to hear from Kyle Shanahan in just a sec, but first let's go out to the phone lines. 888-957-9570. Dre is in Lemoore and wants to weigh in. What's up, Dre? You're on Overtime with Grandy and Sterling. How you doing?
Oh, I'm fine as wine in the summertime, guys.
Yes, sir.
That was a great game. Yes, sir. Hey, let me ask you guys, were you guys a little scared with Mac and his Mac Jones and, his escapability in the pocket? At the beginning of the game, I was like, this ain't going to be good. But as the game went on, I thought he threw the ball accurately. How about you guys?
Yeah, Dre, appreciate the call. I thought Mac had an awesome day. He was 26 for 39. I thought a number of his incompletions, he was nowhere near completing. But he also wasn't really near turning the ball over on those either, so you can live with those. He definitely missed some throws, but for the most part, he was as accurate as he needed to be, converted on big third downs, 3 touchdowns through the air, had 1 turnover, not because of a throw, but because he held on to the ball too long. Dre's initial question about mobility, that's certainly a concern. It was one of mine coming into the game. That still is true. I think it limits the Niners' offense and limits Kyle Shanahan's play calling a little bit because of his inability to extend plays. And also, I was kind of surprised the first play from scrimmage was a play-action boot. Because
I didn't love that.
That doesn't seem to be Mac Jones's strength, in my opinion, and it did not work. Less because of Mac and more because of a missed block, but still. There is concern, I think, Sterling, in terms of Mac's maybe slower decision-making at times and the mobility. But all that essentially does, I would argue, is limits the plays that Kyle Shanahan can call. And not to the point where you feel like you're only looking at one page of a play sheet. You still have a lot you can turn to, but I thought Mac was as good as you possibly could have hoped for.
Yeah, let's not forget, for as good as he played today, he's still a backup quarterback in the NFL, and he's never going to be as good as Brock Purdy is, at least until we see it. However, would I be wrong to say that Mac Jones, I believe, exceeded probably the expectations of everybody, including his own head coach and maybe even himself?
Absolutely, yeah.
Nobody thought Mac Jones would throw for, nearly 40 times in this game, but also for nearly 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. If you told me Mac Jones dropped back 39 times, we're saying what went wrong and how far were you behind. Mm-hmm. And they were in control of this game, basically not from jump, but pretty much that first quarter.
They never trailed.
They had a lead and didn't give it up. So exactly, never trailed in the game, and a large part of that is due to Mac Jones and his precision, his accuracy, and the way that he commanded the offense. Again, there was some bumps, some guys didn't know plays. There was an early timeout called, and it was like, okay, it's not going to be as smooth sailing as Purdy would be as a quarterback, but good on him though. Starting quarterbacks lost games this week for their teams. Mac Jones was not one of them, and that matters in football. Being 2-0 matters, and I think giving yourself a breather of okay, we got past the first 2 weeks. Week 3 presents different challenges, and so does week 4 and 5, but it inches you closer to getting back your starters, and I think Mac played admirably in the absence of guys. I walked into today saying, you're not trusting Mac Jones with Kittle and Ayuk and Robinson and Jennings and Pearsall. You're saying, hey, go win games without Kittle and without Ayuk and no Robinson, and you are down other guys than just your quarterback. You almost didn't have Jennings in your back and Trent Williams. Like, there were things to worry about, but the right guys played and the right guys won. So good on Mac Jones. Very impressed by him. Exceeded the expectations of everybody in that room. And hopefully gave fans more confidence walking into next week.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told me before this game that Mac Jones goes 26 for 39, not the best completion percentage, but not terrible by any stretch, 26 for 39, 279 passing, and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, did turn the ball over once on a strip sack. If you were to tell me that's Mac Jones' stat line, I would have told you, well, my God, Kyle Shanahan must have called an A++++ game. Now, I'm not saying Shanahan didn't. Shanahan was very good in this game, I felt. I thought he was way, way, way better than he was week 1. And you could put this performance by Shanahan up against, I mean, I don't know, more than half the season last year. And I think this today from Shanahan surpasses a lot of those performances from last year by Kyle Shanahan. So this is not to say that Shanahan was bad today by any stretch. I thought he was very good. But the way that Mac Jones got to those numbers, having watched the game now, of course, had a whole lot more to do with Mac himself than I would have predicted it would have been. Like, if you would have told me Mac would have gotten 279 passing and 3 touchdowns, I would have guessed, maybe 10 completions to McCaffrey, some schemed up quick throws to Pearsall, and some screens to Titan, dink and dunk, yards after catch, good blocking from Juwan downfield and all that. But the numbers that Mac Jones got, I don't think they were that inflated by all of the other things that the Niners tend to be very good at. I thought Mac got out and earned a lot of those numbers. So Mac's stat line is very good, and I think he honestly deserves a very good stat line. Not necessarily what I would have been expecting that to be if you told me those were the numbers that he would have finished with.
Whenever a backup quarterback plays, the mindset usually shifts, to how can we win despite the quarterback? And today you won a large part due to the way Mac Jones performed against the Saints defense. It was not a 41-yard, air yards to Juwan Jennings, but to have a throw over the middle, Juwan breaks over the center and is gone and runs for a touchdown. And to hits, like, Mac Jones was also really good on third down in this game. There are a lot of third downs for San Francisco. The offense and Mac Jones was really good. I thought the throws he made, won a lot of them to Juwan himself, but I thought to extend drives, to keep drives alive, I thought San Francisco and Mac Jones were on point on third downs, which inevitably helps you score points, but also play somewhat of a keep away and keep your offense on the field. Give your defense a breather to, like last week, make big plays on the Saints' final 2 drives to kind of shut them out and win the game overall.
Yeah, Niners were 8 for 15 on third down, Sterling. There was a 3rd and 7 conversion, although that was via a penalty. By the way, an old friend, Isaac Yadam. I know you probably were laughing watching that. Defensive pass interference against Juwan Jennings in the first half. Later on that same drive in the first quarter, 3rd and 14 conversion, Mac Jones to Ricky Pearsall. There was a 3rd and 1 conversion on the ground, Christian McCaffrey. Another 3rd and 1 conversion, that was the Luke Farrell touchdown. There was, let's see, where else here? A 3rd and 6th conversion, 3rd and 6th conversion in the second quarter, late second quarter to Juwan Jennings on that drive that resulted in that touchdown right before the half. 3rd and 6 to Juwan for 29 yards. There was the 3rd and 5 conversion to McCaffrey in the end zone for the touchdown at the very end of the first half. Where else here? They had a 3rd and 13 conversion via another penalty. Illegal use of hands by Kool-Aid McKinstry against Ricky Pearsall. That turns into a first down. There were a lot of big third down conversions for the 49ers. How about 3rd and 10 in the fourth quarter? Mac Jones to Christian McCaffrey. He was in the slot, I believe, for 13 yards. 3rd and 11, which you already pointed out, the Juwan Jennings 42-yard touchdown. I mean, Mac, just looking at those numbers, Mac was probably at his best, Sterling, on third down. Like, if you look at first down passing, second down passing, third down passing, he probably was at his best on third downs, and that's generally the sign of a pretty damn good quarterback.
And that's where last week the Saints really struggled. They were the 28% third down conversion, where San Francisco this week almost 50% or over 50%.
Yep.
that was the difference in the game to me, because you look at the numbers, the Saints were 4-11 on third downs, and when you can't extend drives or keep your offense on the field, then you continually punt the ball away or you give away the football, you lose football games. And Mac today was awesome on third down. I really couldn't tell you how nervous I was on those third downs of like, oh, this is the end of the drive, and here we go. And I think that'll persist throughout the remaining time if Mac Jones is playing quarterback while Purdy's out. But to give him credit, when we all were like, hey, we're clenching, like, here we go. Yep. This is the game. He came through, and I think that's kind of a testament to who he is as a quarterback, and Kyle and guys getting open for him. A really, really, really strong day from Mac Jones, and a big challenge to overcome on the road in New Orleans without your top target, George Kittle, and two of your top receiving targets in Ayuk and Robinson. Big win today for the team and Mac Jones.
Yeah, I mean, hell of a win. And I mean, there's a reason they came into this game as 3-point favorites. And as far as the NFL goes, Sterling, a 3-point favorite, that's not much of anything. Like that game could go either way. Now, oftentimes, home field advantage is worth anywhere from like 1.5 to 3. Saints were at home, so maybe on a neutral field, Niners would be favored by more. But a 3-point favorite. Like, these are the lowly Saints, and the Niners are a 3-point favorite. The reason, mostly because of Niner injuries. Like, this was not supposed to be an easy Niner win. And it wasn't, but just because it wasn't easy, and it looked at times difficult versus a team, the Saints, that's probably going to win, like 5 or 6 games at the most? Like, that's not a reason, in my opinion, to be frustrated by this game. Like, of course, there are things to improve on. There always are. But just a blanket statement, they struggled to beat the Saints, therefore I don't think this is a good Niner team. That does not apply, I think, to this specific game, Sterling.
Yeah, had they come out and had they had a game-winning field goal and they just kind of squeaked by, and maybe to a certain degree they did, or like had Mac Jones thrown a pick and he also fumbled and it was like really tight and it was a one-score win or a 1-point win, I think we're having a different conversation of, how does week 3 look? How does this team look? And I don't know about you, but I don't really feel like the Niners weren't in control. I don't feel like this game was up for grabs, albeit it technically was. I didn't feel the pressure of like, oh my gosh, they're going to lose this one, or here we go. Even despite it being a 5-point difference, like they were in command of a game that was one score down the stretch, but I never felt as if it was up for grabs or that the Saints are going to come back and win the game. So that is to credit of Kyle Shanahan, Robert Saleh's defense, the guys on the ground doing the actual work. Overall, you leave and you're like, hey, week 3 against the Cardinals, what right now feels like they're going to be 2-0 as well. That's going to be a really pivotal game, and Mac Jones against Kyler Murray looks a little more even than I think we thought after Purdy went down with an injury last week. Yeah, Arizona is absolutely dominating, by the way. They're up 27-3 over Carolina about midway through the third quarter in Arizona, 27-3 versus the Panthers. Looks like the Cardinals will be 2-0. Looks like we know for sure the Seahawks are 1-1. The Rams are also 2-0. Niners 2-0. So assuming that Cardinals score holds atop of the NFC West, Niners, Rams, Cardinals all 2-0. Then the Seahawks at 1-1. That sets up, assuming again that Cardinals score holds 27-3 in the third quarter over Carolina. That sets up 2-0 Niners, 2-0 Cardinals at Levi Stadium next Sunday. Don't yet know for sure if Brock Purdy will be out for that game. That does seem to be the likeliest outcome. But we'll have to wait and see from Kyle Shanahan. Speaking of Kyle Shanahan, he has addressed the media, and we will play that when we come back here on Overtime. It's Mark Randy, Sterling Bennett with you. Niners win in New Orleans 26-21. Kyle Shanahan coming up, plus more time for your calls and texts. 888-957-9570 as Overtime rolls on right here on 95.7 The Game.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
1-877-CARS for kids. KARS, Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877-CARS for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS for Kids. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877-CARS for Kids. KARS, Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, hims.com/joy.
Join Lorenzo Neal and Evan Giddings at Laughing Monk Brewing in Sunnyvale every 49ers home game this season for our special pregame live broadcast. Plus, we'll have games, prizes, great food, and shuttles to and from Levi's Stadium. For more information, visit 957thegame.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco, on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
Robert Sala's defense pitching a shutout to this point. 6:48 to play in the second quarter. 73 total yards for New Orleans as they start from their own 15-yard line on first down. Here's Kamara in the backfield. Tossed for a loss on the play. Michael Williams, the rookie from Georgia. What penetration to blow up that run for Kamara.
Now back to overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Overtime here on 95.7 The Game. That's Sterling Bennett. I'm Mark Grandy. Niners winners today in New Orleans, 26-21. Sterling, it's just good to be back on overtime and talking about Niner wins for a change. It was not the case last year.
I think the text you sent me after the show got announced again, which was it year 3, year 4 now for us? It's been a while.
Year 3.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. The text you sent me was, glad to be back. Hope it's better than last year. It was like, yes, please.
And I think what you said was hard to be worse or something like that. So.
Yeah, which it really was. Like to the fans at home, wherever you're watching, last year was really hard to talk about without yelling and screaming through the microphone of like, what do we say? They're terrible. What do we do? But this team's 2-0 now, and it feels really nice to be talking about wins again and how good this team could be this year and the way they're winning. It's really, really impressive, and still a lot of confidence to where this team could go when the season's over.
Yeah, not without concerns. A couple of injuries today from the 49ers. First of all, Upton Stout left the game but came back. Same with Juwan Jennings. We'll have to see what those are about. The big ones that I'm sure we're going to hear Kyle Shanahan address right out of the gate. Ben Bartch, starting left guard for the 49ers, left the game in the first quarter with what was described by the Fox broadcasting crew as an ankle injury. He was pretty quickly ruled questionable to return, then at halftime was ruled out. Kyle Juszczyk in the first half left the game kind of quietly. I didn't notice this. And then was immediately ruled out with a concussion. They took him into the tent, got some testing done. He did not pass the concussion protocol or whatever it is called in the moment down there on the sideline. He was immediately ruled out, so he's going to be in protocol. We'll see where that is going forward. I'm sure Kyle Shanahan addressed that and a whole lot more. Let's hear from Kyle Shanahan, his full postgame presser in New Orleans after the Niners beat the Saints 26-21. Niners now 2-0 here in 2025. Here is Kyle Shanahan postgame in New Orleans.
All right, guys. Injuries from the game. Ben Bartch had an ankle, didn't return. Juice had a concussion, didn't return. Saron Neal and Upton Stout were evaluated for concussions, but both returned. Go ahead.
How would you describe that win?
I thought it was it was a big-time win. Lots of stuff went good in the game. Lots of stuff went real bad. I thought every phase, offensive and special teams, really contributed in that win. That was real cool. The offense finishing the second quarter, the end of the half with the TD. We had that bad turnover to start the third. I think they went down and scored. Fred's turnover was huge. JJ to get that 40-yarder after that turnover was big on capitalizing. And then the teams, those 2 punts at the end by Morstead, going to the 6 and the 10 on those last 2 drives, I believe, were huge. So everyone had their part, and not doing great, but everyone also had their part in doing really well, which ended in a win, and it was a hell of a deal.
What was your assessment of Mac Jones?
I thought Mac played real well. We had a number of things we had to change up. It was a big deal losing Juice there early in the game, especially with Kittle out, just the stuff we had to do with other tight ends. So we were scrambling there for a little bit, trying to figure some things out. Thought he handled the situation well. Thought he delivered the ball real well. Obviously would like to have that fumble back. Hopefully we can get rid of it a little earlier. It didn't look like anyone was really open, though. But I thought he did a hell of a job.
How did you feel like Tony Soprano adjusted with both Kittle and...
I know it was huge, just like they did last week with Kittle going down. They had to be ready for a lot of stuff they weren't expecting. And then today with Juice going down, it was huge too, because we had to flip their positions a number of times. You don't get many reps at fullback, and for Jake to be ready at fullback and Luke to be ready to bounce back between Y and F, those guys are studs.
You started off with 2 road games. You're not healthy, and you're 2-0. How significant is that?
Yeah, it's awesome. However you do it, to be 2-0, it all counts the same. Yes, we did have to overcome a number of injuries. I was real proud of the guys doing it. It was awesome. Trent was able to go today and battle through that game. JJ being able to go battle through that game. Both of them had big plays, but I'm real proud of the guys.
I think of the injury situation suggested it could be a big McCaffrey game, and he obviously got his touches, but it wasn't crazy. But does that suggest the confidence you did have in Mac to
Yeah. It's you look at how people are playing us. Like I didn't plan on that stuff any different than we did last week. Just sometimes it goes more, sometimes it goes less. But we had no concerns about Mac going into that game. We were real confident in him.
What kind of work has Mac put in from the time he got to you to now that it made you so confident?
Just how he approaches every day. Every day he's on it. He never takes a day off. He's just as far as how he works on the practice field, how he is in the meetings. He's always grinding. So he's been ready since OTA 1 and never felt any difference.
What did you think of the 4th down play there? Huff got in there. Were you just kind of waiting for
for somebody to make a play.
Oh, that was awesome. Like, I forgot to mention that. And then Huff finishing it there at the end. Would love for us to stay on the field and finish it on 0 and run out the clock. We didn't do that. Timo had the huge punt, and then Huff to finish it like that was big time.
Cal, on the 2-minute drive before the half, you guys got up to the line. It looked like some extra clock ran and they were holding. What was going on there? Did you get an explanation?
Oh, yeah, I think they messed up the clock. I think they maybe stopped it. We weren't out. We got a big play before that, and I think they stopped the clock, but we couldn't figure out what was going on, so we just had to wait till they got the clock right.
Kyle, this can be such a hard place to play, but late in the fourth quarter, it sounded like it was hard for them. How was that to have the turnout that your fans came?
Oh, it's so cool. I mean, one of my favorite times in my career was 2019. How many fans we had here, how loud that game was, and then watching them on Bourbon Street after. Driving around yesterday or coming back from our walkthrough on the bus Saturday, just seeing a bunch of groups of Niner fans walking around. So I know our guys travel well, but it seems like we travel here better. The stadium almost seemed 50-50. There was times we didn't have to do the silent cadence during the game, which was unusual. And then you can hear our guys at the end. So I'm going to be happier with our fans. It was pretty cool. No, I didn't. Just some people send me the film. I wish we could have, but.
What do you think of the pass defense in particular? Close out the game.
I loved how they closed out the game. I mean, at time, I thought the drive before, the penalties, we got them to third down a number of times. I don't know the numbers, but I feel like there was 3 penalties that we gave them first downs on, maybe 2. Got to tighten it up. They did enough to win.
Do you have any flashbacks when Pinero missed the first extra point?
No, it was good. It didn't faze me at all.
Solid called Bosa and Huff this week, like closers for you guys. And the O-line's maybe a little bit more in town. Those plays, obviously, they both did that today. Kind of count on them to deliver like that consistently.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what separates those guys. I mean, there's not many people who coaches will call closers or people like that. Those are 2 that are closers. It was an awesome job them doing it. Bosa closed it last week on a sack fumble, and then Huff closed it this week. So 2 big-time plays by those guys.
Is Brock making enough progress where he has a chance to play next Sunday, or do you think it'll still be the Mac show?
I think there's a chance, but we got to see how the toe goes. It's very up to debate, and so we're just taking a day at a time.
All right, that was Kyle Shanahan post-game in New Orleans. A lot of interesting stuff there, and a lot at the very end, including the very last question he was asked, is there a chance that Brock Purdy plays on Sunday? And he said, yeah, there's a chance. We got to see how it goes with his toe. Welcome back to Overtime here on 95.
The toe goes.
Yeah, the toe goes. It's Overtime here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Rennie and Sterling Bennett with you. The report from Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, Sterling, was that Brock Purdy was going to miss anywhere from 2 to 5 weeks with what Rappaport called a turf toe variant. The reason he's calling a turf toe variant was because Shanahan was asked, is it turf toe? And he said, I'll call it turf toe if you want me to. So whatever the hell that means, Brock's dealing with a toe injury. Niners only ruled him out, of course, for this game. So it's completely up in the air for Week 3 at home opener versus the Cardinals. But it is at least possible, Sterling, that we see Brock Purdy next week, according to Kyle Shanahan.
And that's a great thing, where that first report by Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, you're like, uh-oh, like he's missing games against the Saints and the Cardinals and the Jaguars and the Rams. There goes the potential hot start to begin the season. We were all riding the high of the Seahawks win. We didn't even know Brock Purdy was hurt. We got blindsided by it. And all of a sudden, bang, you're like, you're not going to have your franchise quarterback for maybe over a month. And that right there is like, oh, okay, season over? Like, what's going on? And to know that he might come back, and I think the way San Francisco operated, not signing a new quarterback, they could have signed Mike White. They didn't do that. They didn't put Purdy on IR, which they could have done that too, and kind of open a spot for somebody else to be on the roster. Those are all good signs. It also shows the injury probably is not as severe as the initial reports sounded like. And also the way Kyle's talked, it doesn't make it seem like it actually is turf toe. It's just more of a deep bone bruise or something of that nature, which is great. You have to have Brock Purdy back by at least Week 5, and really by next week too. Like, that's going to be a tough game, a really tough game. Cardinals have they beat this Saints team last week. They're really crushing the Panthers now. And they feel like they belong in the same conversation as the Rams and the Niners and the Seahawks do atop the NFC West. So they are coming out to take over your stadium and beat you at home next weekend. So if you can get Brock back, awesome. Get some mobility, and it makes your offense much more dangerous. So really, really good to hear that Purdy might come back as early as week 3 against Arizona.
Yeah, 27-9 Arizona out in front of Carolina late third quarter. Carolina did just score a touchdown, but that game looks like it's over. It's an 18-point lead for Arizona late in the third quarter. In all likelihood, Arizona will be 2-0 when they meet the Niners at Levi Stadium coming up a week from today. Okay, so good news, it seems, at least not bad news on Brock Purdy injury from Kyle Shanahan. He also, of course, was asked about Mac Jones. Let's just run this past our listeners one more time. Shanahan, specifically on Mac Jones.
I thought Mac played real well. We had a number of things we had to change up. It was a big deal losing juice there early in the game, especially with Kittle out, just the stuff we had to do with other tight ends. So we were scrambling there for a little bit, trying to figure some things out. Thought he handled the situation well. Thought he delivered the ball real well. Obviously would like to have that fumble back. Hopefully we can get rid of it a little earlier. It didn't look like anyone was really open, though. But I thought he did a hell of a job.
Okay, so there's Shanahan saying Mac did a hell of a job. I think for most Niner fans out there, Sterling, and maybe I'm wrong, what today's performance does was obviously it's nice to get a win. It just allows Niner fans to take a little bit of a deep breath, and if Brock is to miss another game, if Brock is to miss 2 more games, maybe he comes back this next game but misses another game down the road. If Brock, for whatever reason, was to miss time, Niner fans feel a little bit more comfortable and confident that they could at least stay competitive against a lot of teams in the NFL with Mac Jones as their backup quarterback. Does what happened today go anywhere beyond that for you? Is there anything about, well, maybe Mac Jones? Because I'm telling you, I'm seeing a little bit of it online, and we got a call that I'm going to go to in a sec that wants to talk about it. Is this just, well, you got a good backup, this is confirmation of that, or is it maybe Mac Jones is Kyle Shanahan's guy, Sterling?
I'm not going to indulge that part of the fan base. I don't want to go through this again. It's one game. Yes, Mac Jones played really good. Yes, he fits the offense. His skill set was always going to translate to an offense like this that usually makes it easier for quarterbacks when it comes to throwing to open receivers, playing on time, over the middle, the screen game they had with Christian McCaffrey back and everything. Okay, Mac played good. I've also seen Nick Mullins play good at times, and that's not like, let's not go down that route, because there is part of the fan base at one point in time said, well, Nick Mullins is better than Brock or Jimmy Garoppolo, and it was like, clearly there's levels to this, and Jimmy wasn't the top end of that level, but he certainly wasn't Nick Mullins' level as bad. So I get it. Feel great. You got to win today. Let's not overestimate how great Mac Jones can be. Yes, I do think that if he is called upon against the Cardinals week 3, he will put up a fight and give San Francisco a chance to win that game. I do think that is completely a possible outcome next weekend. San Francisco wins and is 3-0. That is possible. That said, Mac Jones also has turned the ball over 45 times, and that's just interceptions. So let's cool our jets a little bit. Let's feel good about the win. But right now, without your starting quarterback and without your stars, week by week, let's not get too crazy after a win against the Saints. Celebrate it, but to quote Willard, what are we doing? What are you doing? Don't go crazy just yet. We'll get there when we get there, but that is not now to proclaim Mac Jones as maybe you paid Brock Purdy too much money in the offseason.
Well, let's hear the reverse side, because we got a caller on the line, Mike in Napa, who wants to weigh in on this conversation. Mike, you're on Overtime on 95.7 The Game. What do you got, Mike?
I'm not going to cool my jets. This is a quarterback controversy, period. We got ourselves a San Francisco 49ers quarterback controversy. Alex Smith, Kaepernick, Montana, Steve Young, and now we got Brock Purdy and Mac Jones. And let me tell you, the cream always rises to the top. Mac Jones has the pedigree. He went to Alabama. He was a top draft pick. This is who Shanahan always wanted. He's got him. He's going to get better. every week. You just wait. The cream rises to the top. Get used to it. This is happening now. It is time for Mac Jones. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the call. The one thing about this Niner team, Sterling, even when they're winning and things are going well, there's not a lack of conversation to have and a dramatic conversation to have. And I don't believe this, and I know you don't because you just said it, and I agree with you. There is going to be, and maybe it's just the talk show, sports talk radio bubble that we live in and the social media bubble that you and I are very active in and we are participants in. Maybe that is what it is, and this is going to be a very vocal minority. But I promise you, there's going to be a lot of chatter this week. And if Max starts again next week and performs well, almost win or loss, doesn't matter, just Max performance, there is going to be a lot of chatter, maybe not about is Mac better than Brock, a better fit for the offense for Brock? Is he really what Shanahan wants? That's one half of this, and I think that's the more extreme half. The other half is what you talked about, which is, well, when you have this guy, is it worth paying Brock $50+ million a year? That's the other part of this conversation. I say hell no to both of those questions at this point, and I would be absolutely stunned if my mind changes on that because I think Brock has been absolutely amazing as the Niners quarterback for multiple years now. Has he had bad games? Yes, of course. Who has not? I could point you to like half of Mac Jones's career starts, and they're absolutely pitiful. So like we could play that on both sides. I'm just going to tell everybody, take a deep breath. It's one game. This is not a controversy. It's good to have a good backup. By the way, the Niners have that. You can survive a minor injury to your starter. The Niners are doing that right now. You're 2-0. This is only a good thing. There's no drama. Everyone in that locker room loves Brock Purdy, and I'm going to leave it at that for now, Sterling.
I've used that grunt twice today. I feel bad doing it. To give Mike some credit, yes, Mac Jones looked really good today. Yes, Mac Jones fits the offense. His skill set fits the offense. It's exactly why Kyle Shanahan wanted Kirk Cousins all the way back when they first got here in 2017. That was his guy, always going to be his guy. They are very similar in their skill sets. Not too mobile, but can play on time, have a pretty big arm. I think Mac's arm is stronger than Brock Purdy's, albeit probably not as accurate. Let me ask you, though, Mike, I'm sure you're still listening, and thank you for doing so, and everybody at home. What did Mac Jones do today that Brock Purdy hasn't done, if not better, in his entire career? Like, Mac Jones does not win you that game against the Seahawks last week. Now, Mac Jones probably throws 2 interceptions and probably gets sacked about 17 times because the offensive line was terrible, to quote Charles Barkley. They were atrocious. And look, I'm happy they won today. Let's not draw up controversy because Mac Jones plays one great game. Joe Burrow got hurt today. He's paid a ton of money. Jake Browning comes in. They beat the Jaguars. Nobody in Cincinnati is saying, oh, Jake Browning better than Joe Burrow. No one's doing that. And Joe Burrow's a good quarterback. And Brock Purdy
He's a great quarterback. Joe Burrow should have won the MVP last year. He's on a different level than Brock. We can admit that.
Yes, Burrow is in that category of the Allens and Lamar and Mahomes type stuff. He's top 4, top 5 of the entire league, no doubt. Purdy isn't there yet. But to sit back and say, Mac Jones tore up the Saints. Better than Brock Purdy. Controversy. Let's not create this. If it happens naturally, it happens, and we'll have that conversation and sit back and be like, whoa, wait a minute here. I think we are all open to having a quarterback controversy conversation, not because you want it to happen, because you've had to have it happen and had to have the conversation the last, near half decade or so because this team has never found the guy consistently. Yet now you have Brock Purdy. a guy who has got you to a Super Bowl, played good enough to win that game, in my opinion, darn near won the MVP. He took your offense to new heights the minute he stepped onto the field against the Dolphins in that game. Let's not do this, please. It's week 2 of 2025. Like, Mac Jones can easily walk out next weekend against the Cardinals after a great game against the Saints and throw 3 interceptions, fumble twice, and we're sitting back like, you signed this guy in the offseason? This is the guy you trust to be your backup quarterback? Adrian Martinez, quarterback 2 controversy. Here we go. Going crazy. Let's not do this. Please.
Mac Jones, post-game in New Orleans, Sterling, talking about how he knows he can play well. Here's Mac.
I know I can play really well, and I know this organization and team has really done a good job just trying to get me on track, and I got a long way to go, and it's just one game, right? And it's good to just kind of feel a little bit of confidence again, and just got to carry that to the next week. And I mean, it's just, like I said, it's one game. If you lose it or win it, it shouldn't matter. Your process should stay the same, and that's what I'm going to do.
Here's also Mac crediting Brock Purdy for helping him get ready for this game.
Yeah, Brock was awesome. He's helped me all week, and he's doing a good job rehabbing, and he just, like, he knows how it is out there. He's like, you're doing great. Just keep ripping it, and that's what it's all about. Like, and I'm just trying to go out there and help the team however I can for down the road.
All right, there's Mac Jones, post-game in New Orleans. Yeah, this is not a real conversation. And, again, look, here's Shanahan asked if there's a chance that Brock plays on Sunday versus the Cardinals. Here's Shanahan.
I think there's a chance, but, we got to see how the toe goes. It's very up to debate, and so we're just taking a day at a time.
Okay, first of all, I didn't catch that the first time. Him saying it's up to debate is interesting. Does that mean there are differing opinions on whether Brock could have played maybe this week or not? Maybe that's something that's going on here. That's also a head coach who is talking about his injured starting quarterback, who's essentially saying whenever he's ready to go, he's going to be playing for us. So I can guarantee you there is no controversy outside of the confines of this radio, these airwaves, some of you callers, and social media. That's where there is a quote-unquote controversy. It does not exist anywhere else.
And the way Kyle mentioned that about it's up for debate, is that, like you said, is that Brock could play Thursday or next Sunday, excuse me, if I say he should, or if Brock agents, like, he already got paid, like, you're not fighting for a contract. If you can play, you're gonna play. The last thing you want is a Jimmy Garoppolo Miami Dolphins situation where Kyle's like, you're healthy enough, and Jimmy's like, wait a minute, like, I don't want to lose my foot.
Yep.
Then he gets hurt again at halftime, which that's the Brian Allen game that was terrible. And Brock Purdy, to me, is a guy, he'll gut it out if he can. Like, he wants to be out there. He's always
already done
that.
Yeah.
Like, broken ribs first year, torn UCL, came back an entire offseason, didn't miss a beat, probably got better his second year as a starter, and last year was the first time he's ever missed a game with San Francisco. So the only reason there'll be a controversy is if Brock Purdy continues to miss time. And I don't think that's going to happen. It may be, one more game without him, but I think that Jaguars game's probably the Brock better be back game unless something crazy happens. So the controversy may last 1 week, maybe 2, but after that, put it aside, shelve it, lock it away, give it a straitjacket, and never let it out again, hopefully.
I'm just telling you, gear up for it this week, at least, because it's going to be out there. We've already heard it on these airwaves. I've seen a little bit of it on the text line, a little bit of it on YouTube, although I think some of it on YouTube might be sarcastic. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but that conversation is out there. I don't think it could be further from the truth at this point. Okay, time for a break. We got one last segment with you here on Overtime on 95.7 The Game. It's Sterling Bennett, Mark Randy with you. We'll hand out our game balls before we get on out of here. Plus, we can hear a little bit more from Mac Jones. Also, Fred Warner has spoken post-game in New Orleans. We can hear from the quarterback of the Niners defense. Came up with one of the biggest plays of this game with that punch-out of an Alvin Kamara short catch. Resulted in a Niners turnover and a Niners touchdown at the ensuing drive. We'll hear from Fred Warner and more as Overtime continues. We're with you until 4 o'clock, so one more segment. It's Overtime with Sterling and Grandy. Back with more next on 95.7 The Game.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Summer's almost over, but the heat is pressing on. If you've got battery trouble, stop by AutoZone for free battery testing. It may just need a charge, and we'll do that for free too. If you do need a battery,
We've got options starting at just $89.99. And we'll recycle your old battery for free. Now that's a strong start. Don't miss the end of summer sale. Now at AutoZone until September 22nd.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time, like car wash. Right now, you can save 20% on the Armor All Complete Car Wash Kit. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Shop organics at Whole Foods Market. Get organic black, red, and green seedless grapes for $2.99 per pound with Prime through September 16th. Snack on these crisp and juicy bites for a sweet pick-me-up. While supplies last, shop in-store or online. Terms apply.
Why is Macy's one-day sale the one sale you can't miss? For starters, you'll find our best prices of the month on fall's top trends, like $99.99 for trenches and barn jackets, diamond bracelets $249, and for cozy nights in, comfy sheets at $19.99 and under. Plus, it's Star Money bonus days, when Star Rewards members can earn Star Money faster. Not a member yet? Join for free online or in-store. Don't miss Macy's one-day sale today. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-507-9701. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-507-9701. That's 800-507-9701. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Join Lorenzo Neal and Evan Giddings at Laughing Monk Brewing in Sunnyvale every 49ers home game this season for our special pregame live broadcast. Plus, we'll have games, prizes, great food, and shuttles to and from Levi's Stadium. For more information, visit 957thegame.com.
It's O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Up to $100 in bonus rewards available at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Rattler, pressure on first down, in some trouble, down he goes! Upton Stout, the rookie from Western Kentucky with his first NFL sack.
Now back to Overtime. Instant reaction to the game with Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett. We are the Bay Area's football station. 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, we are, and we're with you for one more segment until 4 o'clock here on Overtime on 95.7 The Game. Niners win 26-21. That highlight you just heard, Kevin Kugler on Fox calling the first sack of Upton Stout's career, Sterling. Ooh. Niners had 3 sacks today. Upton Stout with the first, then Nick Bosa with the second, which ended a fourth-quarter drive for the Saints, and then Bryce Huff, the closer, with the third and final, a strip sack that ended the drive, got the Niners the ball, and allowed them to go into victory formation and win this game 26-21. That's the other thing that Shanahan talked about at the very tail end of his end-of-game presser today, Sterling, was the Niners having 2 what they call closers on the defensive line as pass rushers. That's what the Niners always like to have. You need guys that can win solo matchups or even take advantage sometimes of double teams because they like to blitz 4. I think this year we're seeing them blitz, or not blitz, but rush 4 and get home and affect the quarterback. I think we're seeing this year them be a little bit more creative with blitzing the quarterback because they have to be at times. And Robert Saleh, while he's never been a really heavy blitz guy, he generally finds creative ways to affect the quarterback, and it's a whole lot more creative than they've been either of the last 2 years. But just when you have a couple of guys in Nick Bosa and then Bryce Huff, who you feel in a one-on-one situation can win their individual matchups, Sterling, that's a big reason why the 49ers are also winning these close games down the stretch, because they have those guys, and they haven't necessarily had those guys consistently the last couple of years.
When they got Bryce Huff, I think the fan base collectively said, we'll see how this works. He wasn't great last year in Philadelphia for a schematic reason, didn't fit what Fangio wants to do on defense, but Saleh had clear success with him out there in New York. But with what we saw today, when they had this stunt and they pulled Huff all the way around the defense, and he goes from the right all the way to the middle, gets pressure, it was like, that is what this defense has been missing. And they've had some guys like Arden Key and Ebukam and Amenihue, and for a certain length of time, Chase Young, and those guys that could get it done at some points, but didn't have the speed like Huff that can beat a guy with the flash and get to the quarterback in 5 different ways. That's game-changing stuff. And to have that paired with Bosa, the power of Mykel Williams coming to the forefront today, a lot of great run defense and a good pass rush as well, it shows you how dangerous they can be. And, we talked about Saleh and having Sorensen last year and the differences and how they coach in defense and whatnot, but last year it just felt like, hey, you guys go, I'll just sit back and call plays. I don't know how to adjust. I don't know how to put you guys in the right place. Saleh pulling guys, stunting, blitzing, doing things that a normal defensive coordinator can do. And on top of that, on the defensive line, they're running 3 safety sets. Jair Brown played nickel in zone coverage today. Got a big PBU early in this game. Like, you're seeing Saleh be able to go toe-to-toe and play this chess match as well, and plug-and-play guys, and not play through linebackers and base downs, and be able to utilize safeties in different ways and use guys' skill sets, where we all talk about Kyle and trying to find out how to use Grendo's 4.3 speed and this receiver, whatever it is. Saleh's doing that on defense, and having guys up front that can get pressure, it changes the game and allows young secondary pieces to feel better and not have to hold coverage for 5 seconds, 7 seconds. So Saleh and Bosa and Huff and Mykel, all those guys really are game-changing threats, if you will, for this Niners defense.
I also think what we saw today, and I think we've kind of known that this has somewhat been the game plan for the Niners, but what we saw today was the first real burst from Mykel Williams and what he did defensively. He was very good. He had 4 tackles, 2 were tackles for loss. A third one was almost another tackle for loss. It was right at the line of scrimmage. So he was like, a couple feet away from 3 tackles for loss out of his 4 tackles. And I think partly why we see the Niners be a more successful pass rush team on third down than any other down, Sterling. It's one, because on third down, generally you bring Bryce Huff in, and he's just a pass rushing specialist. But that also kicks Mykel Williams to the inside. And we might get to a point where maybe they just play Mykel Williams from the interior more often, because that's where it feels like, to me, he can have the biggest impact on this team. Robert Saleh has talked about how he can be generally more of a run-stopping end early in drives, early downs, first and second down, or when you expect to run. not second and long, but second and 4, right? Or first downs when you are expecting run more often than not. He can be generally more of a run-stopping, focused end. You don't, obviously you want your ends to be high sack guys or at least high pressure guys, but he's more equipped to stop the run from the edge. And then when you get in second and long or third and intermediate or longer and you expect to pass, kick him to the inside, bring Bryce Huff in to replace Williams on the outside, and they feel really good about Williams' ability to beat the interior of that offensive line and put pressure on a quarterback from the inside. And in terms of value that a player can bring to a defense, Sterling, being able to pressure the quarterback from the inside, that is near the top of the list. Like football player characteristics. I'm talking about offensively, defensively, having a defensive tackle that can pressure the quarterback. That's so important. And it's why the Niners paid Javon Hargrave so much money. It didn't work out, but Javon Hargrave, up to that point in his career, one of the best, if not the best, interior defensive lineman pass rusher. It did not work out here, and they paid him a lot of money, and that contract is an albatross, and they moved on from him. Failure. But the point is that characteristic is worth a ton of money in the NFL. And now suddenly you look at Bosa on one side, Huff on the other, and when Huff is in the right spot, the right scheme, in the right moments, very effective pass rusher. His last year with Robert Saleh in terms of pressure rate, highest in the NFL. And then
3%,
something like that, something crazy like that. And then you pair that with a guy on the inside and Mykel Williams who you feel can win on the inside. Suddenly 3 of your 4 down linemen you feel like could be the reason a passing play gets blown up on any one of those plays. So Huff gets a lot of credit, Bosa gets a lot of credit, but then also Mykel Williams and his ability to win inside or at least draw a ton of attention away from those others. That's a big reason why I think the Niners are equipped to be probably a better third down pass defense than they are on any of the other downs.
Well, also having Mykel on the edge early in downs allows you to get to more third downs and have a better pass rush on those third down opportunities. And I think you're seeing it with San Francisco right now, and you saw it last year in the Super Bowl. You get to the quarterback the fastest way through the interior, through the center, through your guards, not on the edge. And if you get pushed there, it forces the quarterback back in the pocket or to the outside. And if you have guys on the outside like Bosa and Huff, all you're doing is forcing those quarterbacks right back into their arms. And you saw it today too. Mykel gets the interior pressure, boom, who's right there? It's a young quarterback, never had a win, right into Bosa's arms. You get a sack, you end the drive, and you almost get to go home. So while we'll see what Mykel becomes as the years progress and the weeks go by, the jump we saw from week 1 to week 2, exponential.
Yeah.
Whether it's box score stats or just taking off or having the pass rush productivity.
Just the eye test.
Mykel, literally, like you heard Mykel Williams' name today on almost every single drive. And you barely heard him at all last week. And the Seahawks are going to overall be a better team, but I don't know if that Seahawks offensive line is better than this one they played today. We don't know that yet. So you could say a week 2 jump from Mykel was incredible. He was awesome today.
Absolutely.
And for all the talk of, he didn't get sacks or he didn't get pressures week 1, you want Shamar Stewart, you want somebody else. Mykel, he looked like a dog. Not a Georgia Bulldog, but a dog on the football field today, wrecking shop against that Saints defense in the running game and in the passing game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that pass rush specifically on third downs is looking, I think, pretty darn good. And that is a key for an NFL defense. Here's Fred Warner speaking post-game on the Niners' final drive defensively, which ended with that Bryce Huff strip sack. Here's Niners captain Fred Warner on that final drive defensively.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing in those moments is, nobody has to be Superman. They're the ones that got to be Superman in those moments, right? They're the ones that got to try to chunk us down the field all the way to eventually score a touchdown. It's not even, they weren't even trying to, it's not a field goal situation. They're trying to get a touchdown, right? So all the pressure's on them. Let them catch those 3, 4, 5 yard catches. Make him play quarterback. It's a young quarterback. We have tons of respect for Spencer Rattler, right? We spoke on that before the week, but for a young player, it's hard for him to really dice a defense, as talented as ours, to really go all the way down the field, and especially without a run game. I think the run game throughout the game allowed them to continue drives, and obviously silly penalties kept them in the game on some of those drives. But we made the plays when we needed them, and so happy for Bryce, man. That was such a big play at the end, and always found a way.
That's Fred Warner. He's just taking you through the mindset of what you do as a defense when you're in that spot. You're up by 5. Opponents get the ball with not a lot of time. You don't have to create a 3-and-out immediately. You don't have to force a turnover immediately. Keep everything in front of you. Give them the little things underneath. Don't get beat over the top. And you put them in a bad spot. Eventually, your pass rush, you believe that they're going to pay it off for you, and that's what happened with Bryce Huff. This was also the issue last year with the 49ers, Sterling. It was the 49ers pass rush was not consistent enough where the Niners could not win in those big moments. I feel like so much of today has been talking about the Niners winning on big moments, and one of the most important areas of that is third down pass rush. And they didn't have that last year. It was Nick Bosa and Floyd. They were healthy, their pass rushers last year. For the most part, Javon Hargrave wasn't, but their edge guys were, and it didn't really ever come to fruition. Through 2 games, 2 not great offensive lines, but through 2 games, you feel really good about the progress that group has made.
And I think one of the big difference of this is last year you kind of had a bunch of dudes. None of them really had like one specific skill set that you pointed to and say, you're elite at that, you're great at that. Bryce Huff is not going to play you in the power game. He's going to lose that almost every single time.
He's a specialist.
Right. Like as a speed rusher that can get by dudes quickly and he can spin moves and swim moves, all that stuff, he'll get to the quarterback. Now you have Michael, who you hope can grow in his pass rush plan, but he's a ferocious, powerful person with long arms. Get into the interior of a guard or an edge rusher and push those, or a tackle and push those guys back and use his strength. You have 2 guys opposite Bosa, who in himself is an all-around elite player, that have really specific skill sets. They are probably in the 1 percentile in of speed or power for Michael and Bryce Huff. So having those guys that have that one trait you can focus on, hone in on, and utilize correctly, unlike last year where you had Leonard Floyd, who's fine, he'll luck into a few sacks, he'll give you high effort, and Yetur Gross-Matos, who right now looks much better on the interior of the defensive line.
He was in the backfield a lot today too.
They just have more weapons, which is better in itself, but also the weapons aren't just, I'm kind of average, but we have 5 of me. No, we have guys that are, elite in this one trait that can get home over and over again. So, of course, you want more from these guys. You always want more, but to have Robert Saleh with these guys at his disposal, clearly it's working out through 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get to game balls here in just a sec. We got about 10 more minutes with you here on Overtime. Niners beat the Saints in New Orleans. Final score 26-21. Really quickly, though, did you hear the news out of Cincinnati, Sterling, about Joe Burrow, who left the game in the first half?
Talk about turf toe.
He got diagnosed with turf toe. According to a local reporter in Cincinnati, Jeremy Rauch, works for the Fox TV affiliate out there in Cincinnati, but it has also been confirmed by NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. Nothing on a timeline, but generally speaking, turf toe is not a small deal. Brock Purdy is dealing with something similar, although it doesn't feel like a classic turf toe thing. Turf toe is essentially a sprain of the ligaments at the base of the big toe joint. Purdy's is something in that regard, but it's not your classic turf toe. For Joe Burrow, this does seem to be classic turf toe, which, probably going to cost him at least a couple of games, Sterling, but we shall see how that goes for the Bengals.
I think the report was he'll miss several weeks. Again, that can be 2 games. It could be 7 games. Probably. We've seen turf toe haunt players year in, year out. It never gets better or it costs them a whole year.
My mind goes to Patrick Willis immediately, which cost him at the point. We didn't know it was his last year, but it cost him basically the rest of that year, and then he retired in the offseason.
Yeah, and look, would I be wrong to say the Bengals' unwillingness and the inability to find protection for their franchise quarterback is almost as reckless as the Colts with Andrew Luck was? Like, it's heading that direction. Obviously, I hope Joe Burrow can stay healthy and play, but like Luck retired because the Colts couldn't protect him. The Bengals are on that same route of you finally have a guy that is elite when healthy, but you can never get him to stay healthy because you aren't protecting him right.
Yeah, I've been frustrated with the 49ers and their refusal to beef up the offensive line offseason after offseason after offseason. If I was doing this show overtime, but for the Bengals in Cincinnati, I would feel like 15 times more angry because it has directly led to multiple, and I mean multiple, very serious Joe Burrow injuries. Season-ending injuries for Joe Burrow. And Brock Purdy's a hell of a quarterback. He's not Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a much better quarterback than Brock Purdy, and you have to do what you can to keep that guy upright. Anyway, turf toe for Joe Burrow. So if you are a Joe Burrow fantasy owner, or same for Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, maybe even Chase Brown, a running back, apologies.
I got Jamar and Chase Brown right now, and I'm really going to go cry after the show's over.
That's rough, but at least you have your 2-0 Niners to lean back on. Even if fantasy's not going good, you got the Niners that are 2-0. Let's hand out game ball, Sterling. We'll start on offense, and I'll let you go first. Who gets your game ball for this Niner 26-21 win in Week 2?
I think there's a pretty clear answer here, right? It's Mac Jones.
Yep.
Comes off, backup quarterback. Purdy's not going to play. They're kind of toying with us. Will he play? Probably not going to. But to walk into New Orleans, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, play a, albeit not great team, but a team that wants to scrap and fight you, and draw back nearly 40 times, throw for almost 280 yards and 3 touchdowns, and be a big reason as to why you win that game and the reason why you're 2-0, and now probably going to go play a undefeated Cardinals team, and you can feel like you have confidence in that game because of what Mac Jones did today. Third down conversion rate was so high for him as a thrower. The ability to throw precision passes and throw guys open and hit guys on time gave and made this offense look like a 2019 offense, which again had its hindrances but can win you a lot of football games. And I think the way he facilitated, looking at the stat sheet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 10 guys caught passes today, or at least were targeted. So that's a big deal for me. I thought Mac Jones looked great to walk into this game, get a W for you. That is my first game ball.
Yeah, he deserves it, absolutely. 3 touchdowns, only 1 turnover, no interceptions, put the ball on the ground once for waiting a little bit too long and taking a sack, but nearly 300 passing yards. And for the most part, I thought when he missed, he missed in safe spots. There were not a lot of turnover-worthy throws that he made. I thought he was awesome, and you could not possibly in your right mind expect a backup, whoever it is, to come in on, not super short notice because the team obviously knew something was up with Brock Purdy like when that Seattle game ended, but to come in and take over, whether it's for one game or multiple games, that is not easy. So absolutely, Mac Jones deserves a lot of credit and a good game ball. I'll go to Juwan Jennings. We did not know if he was going to go today. Questionable coming in, had that shoulder injury that he hurt week 1 in Seattle. Felt like he was going to miss 3 or 4 weeks, just the way that things were going and his reaction to it, and Shanahan saying he couldn't even put his he couldn't even put his arm up, and then they signed Kendrick Bourne. It felt like all of the signs were bad news for Juwan. But he comes in and he plays. He ultimately kind of limps off at one point in this game, but then comes back and scores a 42-yard touchdown. He had 5 catches for 89 yards, including that big touchdown. He was Mac Jones' preferred target in general, but specifically on third downs, as he is for whoever his quarterback is. Third and Juwan is alive and well. Juwan Jennings was awesome in this game, Sterling, and he gets the game ball. That touchdown, by the way, that he caught was ultimately the game-winning score. The Niners, with that score, got 26 points. They win this game 26-21. Juwan Jennings, a big part of it, and he gets my game ball.
I believe that touchdown, the 42-yarder, was the longest of his career as well. So whether the ankle was injured or was kind of a small thing, that happened after he was hurt. So Juwan was awesome in this game, using his body, using what speed he may have, which isn't much of it, to separate. Good for Juwan. They don't win this game without him. So to be able to kind of fight through pain and go get your incentives, go out there and win a game for this team. So we love Juwan Jennings. Multiple third down catches, third and Juwan for a reason.
Yep.
Clutch as clutch can be. So I am a little shocked he didn't pick Christian McCaffrey. I will be honest with you.
He was good again. I mean,
dude,
107 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. I mean, and he did it on 19 touches. 107 all-purpose yards on 19 touches.
If I told you that Christian McCaffrey had a 69.2% success rate today, and that was the highest of his entire career, what would you say?
Wow. Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
It didn't feel like that.
It didn't.
CMC,
You're right.
For 2 weeks, has been healthy, a mainstay in the offense, and you see the difference he makes on short down conversions, third and longs, second and longs, getting these teams into third and manageables. I know he's not getting a game ball today from us, but Christian McCaffrey, stay healthy.
Yes.
This team can go a long way with you on the football field.
Deserves a shout-out, even if it's not a game ball. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when they split him out wide, and sometimes they do that thing where they line him up in the backfield out of the shotgun on either side of Mac or whoever the quarterback is, and then they split him out wide, but he still stays deep, so he's not on the line of scrimmage. He's, like 5 yards off, just to get him out in front or out to the side so he can kind of run like a slot-type route. That's an interesting wrinkle that Kyle Shanahan has been doing for a couple of years now. But then the touchdown catch, I think he was lined up in the slot, and he just runs a picture-perfect route, and it's like he's a receiver. He is still, to this point, the best, most effective, most scary dual-threat weapon in the game of football. He's still incredible, Sterling.
Only 13 carries today. Love the usage.
Yep.
Keep it at that if you can. 13 carries is almost the perfect amount for CMC. Use him as a receiver. He's, again, like you said, the best dual threat in football, and the offense is so much different with them out there.
Yeah, 13 carries for 55 yards, average just more than 4 per carry there, and then he had 6 catches on 7 targets for 52 yards and that 14-yard touchdown. Okay, Sterling. Pardon me, it was a 7-yard touchdown, had a 14-yard catch later. Defensive side, who gets your game ball on the defensive side for the 49ers?
Did you go with Fred Warner? That feels like the obvious choice once again. He had the big fumble from Alvin Kamara, who, again, kind of didn't know if he caught it or not, but Fred having the instincts, you talk about closers, man. He's just... This looks like the best Fred Warner we've seen. Obviously, he broke his ankle last year and played on it and everything, but the Fred Warner we saw early last year that was saving games for San Francisco is the same for Fred Warner we're seeing now.
Yep.
He's awesome. He's tremendous. You go to the box score, 11 total tackles, 7 solo tackles, 1 PBU on a pivotal third down and 2 that helps set up this defense in a good spot for a big fourth down they got to stop on as well, and then 1 tackle for loss. Fred has been every bit of the all-pro player that he's promised to be, and this team needs a leader on defense. He is by far the biggest one they got, and Fred is, once again, getting a game ball.
Yeah, Fred absolutely deserves it. You mentioned the forced fumble, which he also recovered. You mentioned the tackle for loss, leading the team in tackles. Had that great diving pass breakup in the first half. I think that was on a third down to get the Niners off the field. He's all over the place, as he always is, so very deserving game ball. I guess we're just going to go somewhat chalky here, but I'll go Nick Bosa. I mean, you mentioned Fred leading the team in tackles with 11. Nick Bosa had 9, including a sack, 1 tackle for loss. It was that sack. He hit the quarterback twice in this one, and he came through in one of the game's biggest moments. Not the last drive for the Saints, but the second to last drive, which I think the Niners thought that was going to be the last drive because they would have hoped to run the clock out and not have to punt the ball back. But Nick Bosa acting like the closer once again. Bryce Huff ultimately was the final closer, got the final out in this game, but Nick Bosa was very good once again. And there's been a lot of talk the last couple of years, Sterling, about his lack of productivity just in the tackle for loss and the sack category, and some of that has been fair. I think a lot of it is just who he has around him and how difficult life has been on him. A lot of the underlying metrics suggest he's still one of the most effective pass rushers in the NFL, but there is something nice about seeing a number in your sack category, and for the first 2 weeks of this year, Nick Bosa has had that, and they've been fourth-quarter sacks. So Nick Bosa gets the game ball for me today. He deserved it.
I can tell you the number he wants to see is that raise he's probably going to ask for in the offseason because Micah Parsons got paid.
Broke the market. I guarantee you, Jed York, Kyle Shanahan, and John Lynch are like, Packers, what the hell? Are you kidding me?
And Nick Bosa's like, hey, Micah, watch these 2 sacks back-to-back weeks. I'm coming for your record.
Yeah.
So, yes, Bosa equally deserving of a game ball like Fred, like Mac Jones, and like Jawan Jennings. Nick Bosa's awesome, guys. Whether you like it or not, or you think he's overrated or not, Nick Bosa continues to be awesome for this defense.
Absolutely. All right, that'll do it for overtime today here on 95.7 The Game. Niners win in week 2. They knock off the Saints. They're now 2-0, and they return home, or they head home for the first time for week 3, a matchup versus the 2-0 Arizona Cardinals. They're up by 12 right now at about the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter, although the Panthers are actually driving. The Panthers could score and make it a one-possession game. How many timeouts do the Panthers have left? They have 1 timeout left. Going to be hard for them to get the ball back, but I guess that game is not over. It'll likely be the 2-0 Cardinals versus the 2-0 Niners Sunday at Levi Stadium, 1:25 kickoff Pacific time. Sterling and I will be here for overtime, as always, once that game comes to an end. Sterling, been a great show, and I'm looking forward to next week already.
2-0, baby. Let's make it 3.
2-0. All right. That's all the time we got today. Thanks so much for tuning in. For Sterling Bennett, for my guys behind the glass, Cam Williams and Steven Risotto, my name is Mark Randy signing off. Thanks for tuning in. Niners are 2-0. We'll talk next week on Overtime on 95.7 The Game.